This podcast is brought to you by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider of audiobooks with more than 150,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, and periodicals. For a free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/roosterteeth. Audible.com/roosterteeth.
This episode of the Rooster Teeth Podcast is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website, portfolio, or online store. For a free trial and 10% off, go to squarespace.com and use offer code ROOSTERTEETH. That's offer code ROOSTERTEETH at squarespace.com.
Hey, it's a
Hello,
podcast.
everybody.
How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome. I am Jack,
I'm Chris.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Bernie.
and I am Jack because I'm sitting in Gus's seat.
Whoa.
I
I
know
almost
that.
broke my microphone.
I know my mic is like this. I don't know what Gus did this, but if I touch this, it is like woo.
This is you gotta tighten that
falls
thing.
down. There's no tightening bolt on this.
You know, we just you need a wrench to do it, but we have
me,
arms
pull my wrench
for
out.
our microphones that, like, if you've ever never seen the video version of the podcast, we have them on these like retractable arms, which is
Yeah.
really cool. But you guys have the same setup in Achievement Hunter.
We have a much nicer setup.
but your arms are way better than our arms. And
because we bought this exact arm actually, and it was like our mics were too heavy for it. That you would set a mic and it was dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
So we had to turn those back in and get some more.
Well, I have
heavy-duty
better
ones.
arms than all of you.
Look at those guns. I like you just have lipstick on your own bicep. That's awesome. Barbara kissed her own arms.
So how you been, man? I haven't been on the podcast in a while. What's happened in the last 2 months?
Well,
Or 3 months, or whatever the last
we
time
moved
was
to a
on.
new studio. I don't know if you heard about
nice.
that.
That's good.
And then there was this movie Kickstarter thing that we did. Barb and I actually just got back from L.A.
Los Angeles.
We went to the Streamy Awards,
Yes.
which you were nominated for, one of
Yeah.
your shows.
Yeah.
and we were beat by the president.
Yeah.
No thanks, Obama.
Well, okay, so we were nominated for the what was it? Not charity stream,
Public
or
service.
Public service stream
Yeah.
is what it was. And so we were nominated for the extra live stream, which was fantastic. And thank you very much, everyone who nominated us. Thank you. But it was us, J.J. Abrams with Course of the Force, which is the Star Wars thing.
Jeez.
Michelle Obama in the White House with her thing. I forget what it is exactly.
That was YouTubers went to the White House to talk about healthcare.
Okay.
Hannah Hart and Tyler Oakley and Vsauce and other people went there.
And
which
then
sounds cool.
So that's awesome. And then also Farrell was up there with something. I saw his face in like the categories. I'm not sure what his was, and the other one I forget what the other one was. But,
Yeah.
Pharrell
so,
Williams?
Yeah. So
Will
we lost
Ferrell.
to some good company. You know.
It was. I sent you a picture of all the nominees on the board. I go, that's a pretty cool board to be up on.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
be really funny if our stream beat the White House stream.
Or
because
Star
Or
Wars.
Star, yeah, I was gonna say, I was
Star
like, I don't know about the White House,
Yeah.
but Star Wars is pretty
Just because
cool.
if you look at the clips from our stream, it's people like
Yeah.
vomiting into buckets.
It's
Shaving
Michael
heads.
eating 1,000
Yeah.
lava
Yeah,
cakes.
people in costume.
Versus the
Who
president.
accepted for the White House?
Nobody.
No one?
Nobody.
No
that was
Obama.
that was they. So we were nominated for 9 different Streamy Awards, which is a terrible name for an award, the Streamies, but it's probably the premier online video awards. Now there's the Webbies, but the Webbies covers everything. I can't even figure out what the hell the Webbies covers because like David Bowie was their star of the year, and I'm not sure exactly what David Bowie is known for in digital culture.
Or what did he do in the last year?
Yeah. So like I know that was like a year or two ago for the Webbies. I don't know. But but like the Webbies cover graphic design and blogs and user ability and stuff like that, like user interface. Whereas the Streamies totally focused. Basically, if you want to use the vernacular of the current age, it's the YouTube Awards.
They all sound like little
Yes.
kid awards, like Streamy, Webby, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Emmy,
and best
right?
Viner too,
I
right?
didn't think about that.
What's that?
They had best Viner too.
They did.
Yeah, so the weird thing was we were nominated for 9, which I think put us second to Video Game High School, Freddie Wong. They had like 13 nominations
Yeah.
across a bunch
They're
of
like the
different stuff.
Titanic of the Streamies.
Well, you know, every year at every award show, it's like this is the year of something. And even though I don't think Video Game High School won a bunch of awards, I think they won 3 of their 13. I'm working from memory here. It was very clear in that room that this was the year of Video Game High School. Like every time it came up, everybody was like cheering and stuff like that.
Okay.
Video Game High School is, you know, it's very much in the moment right
So
now.
like Return of the King, when that was, you know, all the Academy Awards came out for it, it won everything.
It was the thing to beat.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I think so. And as far as a specific show,
But it looked fancy as hell, man. Like it looked like legit actual award show.
it was at the Beverly Hilton, the classic Beverly Hilton. That's actually the same place we went for the Producers Guild Awards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Best hotel name to date.
Oh, Barbara, I never even got the pun in the name Beverly Hilton. I never, until I was with Barbara for 5 minutes. I've known about the name of the
giggling
hotel
the
for 30 years.
He's a
but
pun magnet. You just
Yeah.
can't get away
I
from
asked
it.
where the award show was, and he was like, Beverly Hilton. I was like, haha, that's funny. And he's like, why is that funny?
Did you ever hear the crazy story about when I was with Barbara and Gav in LA for the first time, and I was telling the story of who Angeline is?
Yes.
And we ran into Angeline immediately.
Yeah.
I was with Gavin. We ran into Angeline again.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Where?
We're about 95% certain it was Angeline. She was, and you can look up online.
Was it a
who that
pink
is.
car?
No, she was all in pink. Older lady, blonde, all in pink, carrying a pink dog, and she in a pink like baby stroller, dog baby stroller. So
Well, to
it
be
was
fair, there could be like 9 women in Los Angeles who are
Yeah.
exactly like that. You just described quite a few people.
very true. The first time we definitely saw the car,
Okay.
which is like that's like seeing a unique car in Grand Theft Auto. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's that car. It's definitely Angeline. But yeah, it could have been. And while
So
we
you
were
saw her
telling the
this
story, we
trip?
passed one of her billboards.
Oh, wow.
So
This
All right.
trip?
It's,
yeah, this trip
Jesus.
we were going to breakfast that morning.
At the
brag
Waffle?
about it.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to the Waffle.
I love the Waffle. My favorite place.
Yeah, every time I'm still trying to get the Dan Gritchie special on the menu, which is basically like you order every waffle they have. And
So
it's-
how many have you made through at this point, do you think?
what's that?
How many waffles have you made it through at this point? Have you gone through the whole, have you done the whole rotation? Or are you still
Oh
working
god,
right
you
through
know what?
it?
I actually when I go there, I eat this trip especially I eat pretty light because we are, we're now on the calendar for when laser team shooting starts, and it's like I'm not eating anything ever
Okay.
again.
You were
I
on
live on a
reach.
diet of
That's
Red
also
Bull.
why you didn't go skydiving with us.
was it?
Because you
That's
didn't want
why-
to
It
like.
absolutely was,
Yeah.
Chris. Yeah.
Oh.
Because you guys were in the skydiving at recap. I wasn't worried about dying, but I was definitely worried about spraining an ankle or
Okay.
something
Okay,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, that makes sense.
Or blowing out my knee, and then it's like, oops, sorry everybody, sorry
Yeah.
me. You
Can't
know.
be in an action movie with that.
So, okay, so what else happened to the streams? Anything interesting? Or?
Yeah, so we won 2 of the 9 that we were nominated for, which I think is pretty good batting average.
Yeah.
Ruby won for Best Animated Series, and Jeff Williams won for Best Original Score.
So awesome.
Yeah, and 2 very well-deserved awards. But it was weird because...
Bravest Warriors in that category.
Yeah, Bravest Warriors was in Best Animated Show. And the weird thing is that they had a lot of categories. I think they had like 40 different categories. And so what they did was they split away some of the categories to be announced in a pre-ceremony, which was on Thursday night. And that's a pretty typical thing.
technical awards is what
Yeah,
yeah.
they do it. But like what are considered the heavy hitter like show awards for the Oscars and the Emmy, it's a little different than for online because like actor in a comedy or actor in a drama, the online environment isn't sophisticated enough to where actor in a dramatic series is like you're going to know who that actor is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
definitely would at the Oscars or
Yeah.
the Emmys. You'd know Tom Cruise or somebody like that. But the stuff that they kept in the show for the streamies was like Viner of the Year, Personality of the Year, first person series, which means like a vlog basically.
Okay.
They just make kind of broader categories to include like any kind of like vlog or makeup or stuff like that.
It just seemed very odd to me that I would think Best Animated Series at least would be in the ceremony itself. Because when you think about shows, you think about comedy, drama, animated.
I guess the thing is there's not a face associated with an animated series, So
I guess.
Well, it
so
still
it's
sounds like you would watch an animated series online. It seems like something you would
Oh, yeah.
you'd be more likely to see, and you'd want to see the category be awarded.
So animated was moved to Thursday.
Okay.
That's where Ruby won on Thursday. So if people were watching the broadcast, we'd already won the award by the time it came up. But my whole thing about them moving animated into the pre-ceremony stuff was animation is kind of like the foundation for web entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean, that was how entertainment on the web started with Flash animation.
Yeah,
and,
Flash stuff.
Homestar Runner and all that stuff. And so it felt weird that one was moved away. Not so much that it was moved away, but what they left in. Like when we were submitting for nominations, Red vs. Blue has won a lot of Best Animated Series awards, and not a streaming one, but for different competitions. And we specifically did not enter Ruby and Red vs. Blue into the same categories. Like we moved Red vs. Blue into a category that was Best Sci-Fi Show, Sci-Fi or Action Show. And Best Sci-Fi Action Show, that was it turned out, we didn't know this beforehand, but they put that in the ceremony.
Oh.
So it was weird because I would have thought they would have carved out the Best Sci-Fi Show, put that in the pre-ceremony, and put animated in.
Yeah.
With stuff like Bravest Warriors and everything.
Yeah.
Do you
But I
think it
really
was-
feel like they did that because of Video Game High School.
Do you think it was
And it's
because
what
of the
won that
winners
category.
that they knew were going to win each award? So they like tailored the show for the winners that they knew were going to go up.
You know what? I can put it in perspective. Awards are great for like discovery of shows. In fact, we had a thing where we could involve the audience in it, where we could ask them to help us vote for Audience Choice Award. Rooster Teeth was up for Show or Channel of the Year, and we asked the audience to vote. And we never do that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
you know, like go out and ask the audience to vote, because we realize at the end of the day, it's really just marketing for the show itself. But awards are a great thing to drive discoverability of content. It's like, that's how I remember always hearing about shows for the first time. It's how I heard about The Sopranos. It won all the Cable Ace Awards. And I was like, well, what is this show winning all those awards? And, you know, obviously Rooster Teeth is a big brand online, but we have a discoverability opportunity because we're in the middle of casting for Laser Team. So I made sure I told the audience that. That's why we're kind of pushing for this one, is because if we win this big, you know, Channel of the Year, then it makes it easier to have those conversations with an actor like, oh, here's a script from these online guys. And they'd be like, oh, online. It's like, no, but they would just won, you know, best Channel of the Year. So it's like, that's the kind of language that people speak, you know, at that level. So that's why we went for it and did that. And so they had a whole voting system that we did. I forget where I was going with this. I started off, what was the question we started off talking about here? I lost my own train of thought in explaining all this stuff. Anyway, that was one of the big awards at the end of the night.
Okay.
And the one that ended up winning was actually an Ecuadorian channel that, like, literally I had never heard of, and they have 7 million subs.
Wow.
So basically what we're going to do is dub this podcast in Spanish.
See,
Senorita.
We're going to move to Ecuador,
And
basically.
we'll win next year.
Necesito biblioteca.
Sí. I don't know anything in Spanish. ¿Cómo estás?
Oh, but I was gonna say, so like the whole theory of like what we submit for nominations. And you know, it's always like it's always one of those things too. Like we submit a lot of Achievement Hunter stuff. Like we submitted you guys for Ensemble Cast, and gaming and stuff like that. It becomes like this, almost like this weird science. And the best thing I can equate it to is like when you're taking a test. And Barbara was just doing it now, where you try to think like the person who wrote the test.
Okay.
So you try to think, you get this process where you try to think like, well, how are they going to tailor the show? Like, how are they going to, you know, what are they going to put there? Or like, how are people going to vote and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You know, I went through a whole process where I was on a jury at Slam Dance for gaming.
I love the story.
Yeah.
Slam
good-
Dance?
Yeah.
Yeah, Slam Dance.
is that?
It takes place.
It basically it runs parallel with Sundance in Colorado. Not Colorado. Or, is it Colorado or?
Yeah. No, Utah.
Utah.
It's
okay.
Park City, Utah.
And so basically, Sundance is the big film festival
Yeah.
in Utah. And so Slam Dance initially started as a sort of alternative to Sundance. So like more independent, kind of like niche type films and like edgier films would pop up there.
It was
And
kind of a
then-
shot at Sundance that they were getting too mainstream.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, this is the real independent
Slam.
Yeah.
Park City.
Like you'll
Film
see
Festival.
stuff like
Independent film.
like during South by Southwest, you'll actually see like rival festivals pop up around South by in Austin during South by for people who didn't get into South by.
With similar names?
Yeah, like there's I know there's like South by South Suck, I think, which is like for like films like you have to be rejected by South by Southwest to get in, I think. Or
I could have entered that film
I
festival.
hope there's a porno convention that runs at the same time as RTX and they call it RT Sex. I really hope that happens.
they would probably no, okay.
They might get more attendees. than
I
us.
don't hope that happens. We can.
But yeah, so anyways, Slam Dance started as that, as sort of a response to people who couldn't get into Sundance, and eventually they started up with a video game portion of it as
They
well.
did it 1 year.
The 1 year of it.
Yeah,
okay.
they did it 1 year, and I was on the jury for it.
Well, there you go. So was that your fault that it never came back, or?
No, but I learned about like what a jury's like, of like what's the decision for what should win. And I remember there was a game there called Narbacular Drop. I'm sure I've told the story before. And it was this game where you were a little princess and you could put up these little demon gates with spells. You put up a red one and a blue one. And if you walked through the red one, you came out the blue one, and vice versa. And I was like, I saw that mechanic. It was like Bugs Bunny's portable hole. I was like, this game is fucking amazing. And I couldn't stop playing it. And it was these kids that had just graduated from, I think, DigiPen that made it. And I talked with them a bunch, and I was like, then we go in the jury room, and I'm like, this is clearly, this is like groundbreaking. This is going to be a huge game. And I mean, literally, the other juror was like, yeah, well, they already have a deal with a big video game company, Valve. It's the game that turned into Portal.
Portal, wow.
And they said they already have a big deal with Valve already. And so we got to really think about what we want the festival to be, like the reputation of the festival. Like maybe we should be supporting more artistic endeavors, things that won't get recognized otherwise. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Huh?
It's like, are we picking the best thing, or are we trying to write a story here? It's like whatever. And it's like, and it didn't win. A game that, which was a great game. It was a game about AI-driven conversations at a dinner party. That's what won, I believe. Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds
Yeah,
like I
it
would
was
wanna
actually
play.
really good.
Oh, yeah?
More
it
wine,
was,
please.
It probably didn't have the
That
historical.
game became The Sims. So- Man.
You're talking to
Half-Life
it right
2.
now.
And you just went to PAX too. I haven't been on the podcast in a while, so we haven't talked about stuff. You were at PAX, right?
Yeah, what have you been doing?
I'm working, man.
Tell us what you're doing.
I don't know. I used to go to all these
You
conventions.
just got a house.
You got a house?
I did just get a house. That was a very stressful time, but we're in it now. And
I'm so glad.
yeah, it's
Didn't
all
your other one like was
Yeah,
there cracks in it or something?
No.
I don't
No,
know.
there was mold in
Asbestos.
it. So we
Mold.
found mold in it. So we pulled the contract like the day before we closed, which was a nightmare. So I've never been threatened to be sued before. So that was fun. I got my first threatened to be sued.
Yay.
BS.
Well, I broke a contract, and so
You broke it.
Yeah.
I thought that's what earnest money's for.
well, they took the earnest money, or some of the earnest money.
Aren't
not
you
all of
allowed
it,
to break
so.
the contract though if you find mold?
They have basically they can come back and actually try to fix it. So if they repair it in such a way that covers their contract, and so they went in and spent like $7,500 to repair this stuff. But at that point, it was like, that's the mold house. We're not going to the mold house, and so we pulled the contract.
Yeah, because then you're constantly
So-
going to be thinking about it.
Yeah. But we ended up finding this other house that's like, it was cheaper and it was like much better and it was like well done. I mean, the house is beautiful. The neighborhood is amazing. Like as we were moving stuff in, I met more neighbors moving stuff into my garage than in 6 years of living in my
Wow.
house down south. Like I've met the entire like cul-de-sac I'm in now, and like they're awesome people. And so,
Borrow all your shit.
yeah. No, actually, the neighbor down the street, he offered to let me borrow his table saw and miter saw, which is like, oh my god. So I want to make
Jeez.
stuff.
Do you
So-
when you do that? Do you offer like, well, you can borrow my this
Yeah.
this box?
Extra
You can
Xbox
borrow
One
my
controller.
cats.
I've got 2 buttons you can have. But yeah, the house is awesome. It's great. We brought the cats in this weekend, so they're dealing with a dog and vice versa. But now they have 2 floors to play on. And
Around
it's
Twitter,
really
you got
cool.
bit by one of your cats.
Oh yeah, I got the shit bit out of me. I don't know if you can see it now, but like, so when we were moving out of the old house, my cats were at my parents' house in the workshop there, because when we were moving stuff around, my parents didn't want the cats in their house,
Yeah.
and so we put them in their workshop, and they stayed there for about 3 months, and so became flea bags, right? So Katie and I were like, let's wash the cats before we take them to the new house. So we got them out of the shop, which they had been in there for 3 months, and cats don't like change very much. So we took them into my parents' house and into the washing bin, and gave them both baths, and they did not like that. So cats don't like being moved from where they are. They also don't like being bathed. And
I think Ashley has a scar from the last time we bathed Joe.
but
the
I've
cat.
got like
Yeah.
I've still got like like Uday bit me on my palm to here and like bit down hard, and I was like, ow, ow, ow. But you can't jerk your hand out, just make it worse. So
I could.
It was pretty brutal, but I got him cleaned off and then put him in the car, and immediately pissed in the car, and then
Come back.
Yeah, and then so we got him to the house, and then they're okay now. It took them about a week, but now they're actually kind of
cats,
settled in.
Cats do a weird thing, and Joe did this whenever we took him to a new office or something. Joe the cat, they hide. Like they don't a new environment. They're just like gone
Yeah.
for like a week, and then they're fine.
Yeah.
There's like a weird like certain like statute of limitations, and the cat's like, well, I guess this is the way life's gonna be. So fucking.
Yeah, so they stayed in the garage. They stayed in the garage for a long time. They finally now they've opened up, and now they're walking around. And so at first, like Emma, so our dog, she was terrified because she hasn't had to deal with the cats in a while, and so she was pretty frightened of them again. But now they're kind of back to it, where Kusei and Emma are friends, but then Uday's just a dick. Like Uday will he'll lay on the stairwell, so Emma can't get upstairs.
Uday is a jerk.
Yeah, he's a total jerk.
With horses,
Okay.
no, this is good about
Go ahead.
with horses, and this when a horse is like being ornery,
What are we talking about? Horses.
horses,
How do we get on
like aren't you
horses?
supposed to like punch it? Right?
What? Those are
Are you
4
thinking-
stories
No, no,
crossed
Are you
in your
thinking
head.
of the horse puncher?
No, no,
Aren't
no.
you
I'm not
supposed to
thinking.
punch it?
Someone was telling me that they volunteered for this like horse thing, and then they were saying like,
what's a horse thing?
I don't know, like a ranch or whatever.
They were like a competition.
And they were telling me it's like, yeah, well, when the horses act up, you just kind of give them a little, and I'm not, you just can't give them a little whack.
You can
And
punch.
Yeah, no, that's what they're
Like in
you're
the
supposed to do.
face, or like
Yeah.
just
What?
kind of like hit him on the side.
That's
like,
what someone told me.
Like in the teeth?
No, I don't think you like.
Yeah,
Pull back a stump.
that story that turned into that fucking character in the RTA.
Yeah.
I punched a horse, but I did because it
that was
biting
instinctually.
somebody.
Well,
yeah.
that's yeah,
Big,
and
goofy horse
and that's
teeth.
what I was like. That's just like protocol for horses. It's like that's,
punch protocol.
That's what someone was telling me, and I don't spend a lot of time on horses.
Chris is very gullible.
Listen, treatment of animals is a very big deal, but I also know people who have spent a lot of time around livestock and horses, and I've heard the same thing, that horses are just like, they're tough as hell, and so you just like, to get their attention, you got to be ridiculously strong with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not saying like go beat up a horse. I'm just saying like if it's like being.
I think that's what you're saying.
sure?
Chris.
No, it was,
That's what I'm getting
I
out of
don't know.
this.
I'm
Only
it's
if
more-
you get hired by a horse thing, then you can.
If you're at a place with horses.
But you don't. It's
at a
like
horse thing.
if they're like, yeah, like biting wives and stuff.
Where did,
self-defense.
What?
how did we get on horses though?
We were talking about.
I was talking about cats and
your cat
dogs.
biting you, and you're like, you can't just pull it away. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And then I started thinking about the horses if it starts biting at you.
You're probably thinking about my story.
Yeah, Bertie's got
You must
first-hand
know
experience with a
about
horse
So
being.
this is like happened in the last month. I was talking to someone about horses.
How can you not remember any of the details?
Why were you talking to someone about
I was talking to
horses?
someone who said they volunteered I don't know if it was a ranch or not. It was something with horses, and they said that's.
Was it an apartment?
How can you remember, Chris? How can you remember that somebody told you the story and not remember anything about it? Like you don't know where the person worked at all.
I just remember this. It just like.
Do you
clicked. I
remember
was
the person you were talking to?
No, I don't. I don't exactly remember much of the conversation.
Drunk or did they punch?
drunk?
Did they punch you afterwards?
Yeah. Did you try biting him? Like,
No,
I mean, a lot of the stuff that has to do with horses in general is pretty, like, just normal interaction with a horse is pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Like, spurs are metal spikes on your heels that you jab into their side. I mean, that's like, if somebody did that to me, that would be all
you'd run
I would
fast.
remember
I'll
about that
go
person.
fast.
I
Yeah.
would run fast. Yeah, and it's like
You're trying to get them off your back, so you run really fast.
And even if I understand properly, the way reins work is that reins are attached to a metal bar that's between their teeth. And so when you yank it, their head goes that way because you're like jamming a metal bar into their teeth.
I don't know if it's always in between their teeth. I think they also can have like a muzzle type
That's
thing
just
over
horse
their mouth.
braces.
I could be wrong.
Horse braces.
Yeah, they need to
I
get
never
their
had
teeth.
headgear that anybody was behind me like yanking away on.
My aunt and uncle, they actually have horses and a donkey up in Weatherford, and Katie and I were up there on a little vacation. And it, like horses, man, those things they're like sturdy. Like you were saying, like I could totally understand like having like punch a horse in the side to get its attention because those things just if they want to go somewhere, they'll just go right through you. Like they will just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so and apparently donkeys are like the assholes of like the large animal.
That's why they're called asses.
Is that it?
I don't think
You're
that's
acting like an
why.
ass, right?
I guess so, but I mean, like apparently donkeys, like they specifically got a donkey to scare off like coyotes and stuff because donkeys just don't care. Like they will go after
We saw
coyotes.
a bunch of donkeys when we went
Yeah, we did.
skydiving.
They were nice.
We
There's like this
bring
awesome
you
little
tea or
like
something?
mini donkey thing.
the place where the
no.
skydiving
What's a
place.
mini donkey thing?
Oh, no.
It was just a donkey. Chris.
But is it a mini donkey ranch? The way you use the word thing, it's so interchangeable with everything. It means place.
We are at this place. It's a skydiving place, but it's also like they have animals roaming around there for some reason because it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Because
So they had
safety's
llamas.
not an issue
Yeah,
in
no.
skydiving.
It's not. They had llamas. They had alpacas,
Goats.
goats, donkeys,
What's the difference between a llama and an alpaca? I would not
something.
be able to.
Something.
Something right.
Clearly.
When you said it, were they mixing together?
They
Or was
have
it a clear
different-
line of
they
like they
have
were like,
different
"There's
fur."
the alpacas over there."
Yeah, we don't talk to them.
I don't know what an alpaca even is.
I think they're hairier. I don't know.
They look different. Their faces are different.
Yeah.
Chris is over there like they can't take a punch. Llama's got a much sturdier jaw.
Glass jaw.
I'll give them what's full.
Getting your it's your uncle that has it.
yeah. So
Can your uncle's donkey can it sing?
I don't think so.
That's a big deal. Like for people with donkeys that they sing in the morning.
Sing?
Yeah, they like bray, and it's like
really?
yeah.
don't know.
And I
That
knew a
must
guy
sound
who had a
terrible.
donkey once, and he would sing to it, and it would sing back. Like it would like I mean, it's like hee haw, like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, that stuff. But
No.
it would do it.
I don't think so, but all I know now is Katie absolutely wants a donkey. Like she was looking through like the city
Good
of Austin.
call.
She was looking through the city of Austin like regulations and stuff if we could have a donkey. And apparently in the city of Austin, if you want to own a donkey, you can own a donkey.
You guys
Can
should
I-
go
can I-
pick one out at
well,
the
the problem is
skydiving
we have an
place.
HOA, so like the homeowners association, I'm assuming wouldn't let us have a donkey, but
Yeah.
My
Well, I
advice-
looked up on Google donkey S, and it filled in singing.
My
So-
my advice was, don't get a donkey, get a goat.
okay.
I used to have goats. They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're really fun.
actually it filled in donkey.
You used to have
still.
goats?
Yeah.
Wait, like
Not-
was second.
Whole different show.
Thing was second.
what?
Wait, so you had a goat?
He had
Yeah, I
goats?
had lots of goats.
Wait, did
Where?
you live on a farm?
Not really.
was-
out
that
in
was
the
a thing.
country.
It was
I
a
lived I lived out in the country in high school, and we had goats, we had pigs, we had cows.
Did you
eat
have
goats?
horses?
No, I wouldn't eat them. They were like our pets.
Oh, they were pet goats? I
Yeah.
know lots of people grew up eating
Yeah,
goats.
no, they were awesome. They're
Yeah.
really cool, fun animals, and they do this like they're so fun.
What's fun
They,
about
they,
a goat?
they like having fun. Like,
What
like
does that
like we go
mean?
sledding with them,
no,
or
well, no, they like to dance, and I sort of like
The
have you ever
donkey
seen-
would sing and the goats would dance.
No,
Wait, they like to
have you ever
dance?
seen it? Yeah, have you ever seen goats? Like, they do this like kind of like they jump. They'll climb up on stuff and just jump.
okay,
I don't think that's dancing.
Well, what is it?
Jumping?
climbing on
I don't
things and
know.
jumping off.
They
of
just
them?
like they
They're
just
playing.
enjoy. Yeah, they like
They're
to play.
playing. It's
Okay.
not dancing.
They climb on each other. Like they
Yeah.
bounce
Yeah,
off each
they'll
other.
do. They'd like climb up on top of cars and just like dance around up on it.
Chris, Chris is literally like doing a shimmy, like with his arms, like.
I just imagine a donkey's just getting down, just grooving.
No, goats are awesome. Like, and you get a little miniature goat that doesn't get more than like 2 or 3 feet. And it's way smaller than a donkey, even a miniature little donkey thing.
Okay.
A 3-foot donkey, a 3-foot goat is pretty big.
Whatever that is.
Okay, that's like a foot and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like having goats. I remember at one of the first PAXs I went to in Seattle, there was like a grass berm next to the convention center, and they actually had goats. They had rented goats to just let out to eat the grass there.
Yeah,
and that's kind of cool. Like that'd be nice actually.
When we were doing iBlade, we looked into renting goats.
Oh, yeah?
You can't. You can't rent goats. No,
You can totally rent goats.
well, yeah, but not. It's harder than you think to come up with a goat. What we ended up doing, there's this guy who was like. There's this
Keep
guy.
going, please keep going.
There's this guy who was selling goats and selling them, and Brandon was like, "Hey, can we?" It was like goats are cheap, by the way. Another reason you should get them over donkey.
Okay.
But he was selling these goats, and they were like $70 or something. And we're like, "Hey, all right, we don't want the goat. Can we just pay you $70 to borrow it for the afternoon?" And then Brandon worked it out with him, and it like ended up happening. And then we had the goat and we were shooting with it, and we shot for like a couple hours.
Did you have to like walk around the goat and check it for dents or anything beforehand? How did that work?
No, he was just. And then Brandon was like, I don't think they're gonna let us give them back the goat. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, I think they want us to keep the goat.
Like this guy was trying to get rid of
Brandon
him.
just negotiated a cheaper goat. That's what Brandon
No, he
negotiated.
paid full price
he
for the
paid
goat.
full price for the goat, but he was like, I think he wants us to keep the goat.
What he paid full? What an idiot! He paid full price, and then they were like, "Yeah, just bring it back later." Wah wah.
Well, no, but like
not in charge
they
of a
wanted
bunch
to
of
get
laser
rid.
teams.
They wanted to get rid of the goat. The guy who bought the goat
Yeah,
was like,
I understand the story. Brandon got suckered. Yeah.
but then
He's a
full price for
very
a goat he didn't
he's
want.
a very bad negotiator.
Oh, thank you,
boo.
Barbara.
whenever we tried to return the goat, the guy was like, no, it's your goat.
Congratulations, Barbara.
Wait,
And-
he said it was your goat?
Yeah, he wouldn't.
You paid full price for it. That's what I'm saying. You got suckered.
But we didn't want the goat. So then
I
Brandon,
understand. You listen, Chris. You act like I don't understand. You don't understand. You got suckered into buying a goat. That's exactly what happened. When I go rent a car and I say, "Hey, I want the Ford Fiesta for rental," they go, "Great, that'll be $23,000."
You're like, awesome. I'll bring it back in 3 days.
I
And
just
we'll
think
give you
Brandon
back.
just didn't want to bother with owning a goat, so he
Well-
was willing to pay full price just to rent it.
yeah, he
Why
might
didn't you pay
have.
full price though? Why didn't you pay like? You only want a portion of the goat. We have a lease on the goat. It's not a full purchase.
Whatever the case may be, we ended up with a goat that the guy didn't want back.
So what did you do with it?
Brandon just stuck it in his yard and ran off.
Oh, the guy's yard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Goat
I thought you meant
abandonment.
Brandon's yard.
Like he was like, all right, he just put it in the guy's yard and then left.
So the guy got a free goat back.
he got his free
Yeah.
goat back, but then
He's up 70 bones.
Yeah.
yeah.
Good for that guy.
Unless there's
Now, if I think about it, though, actually, Brandon's transaction might make sense because if I was going to let some guy take away my goat, give me $70 as a deposit, right?
I guess so.
Because it's like then the guy like then you go home. It's like, hey, where's the goat? It's like I rented it. What do you mean? Like your goat manager, be like, you don't rent goats. It's like, oh no, they're bringing it back. It's like,
Goat
nope,
manager.
that goat's gone
Goat manager.
for $20. So it totally makes sense actually that he would give him the full price.
I also like how that goat was in that shot for what, 10 seconds?
Yeah, it wasn't a long shot, but it was like we needed a goat.
Yeah. And you guys just finished putting iBlade up last week, right?
Done.
I think. Am I in the 3rd episode?
Yeah.
Okay, I should watch that.
You look good in a cape.
Yeah.
It suits you.
That dude, I showed up because Katie was working it actually, and so I showed up to pick her up and sure enough, in Rooster Teeth style, like, hey, Jack's here, put on a costume.
Yeah.
It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, all right, fine. So I
you
threw
guys needed a lot of extras for that.
Yeah.
For that
So,
shoot.
It was fun. I guess I threw something into a dragon's mouth or something. I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
You
I
fed
mean,
something to a dragon.
I got added to that production after the fact because I never spent a single day on the set, and then they added me in voiceover into that show.
you got 80
Yeah.
yard into it.
I don't even know who I was voicing over.
What do you say again?
I don't remember.
Like
You just
that
kind of
guy
yell.
was-
You're like, yeah. You're like one of the guys with the helmets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's like
How
Joel and I ended up in a GameStop ad that way by accident.
Yeah?
So we do some GameStop ads here, and Joel's in charge of a lot of them. And he was recording something. I think it was Bad Company 2. And we just needed some temporary audio because typically he'll cut the thing and then ship it off, and then someone adds the audio in later. And so Joel and I, we just needed some audio to put over the over the action. And it was a guy getting shot at, and he was like dancing around. So we needed like the voice of the guy shooting at him, like, "Come on, yeah, all right, yeah, come on." And so Joel and I jumped in the booth and recorded that.
The voice is
He laid it in temporarily, and then they ended up adding it to the final mix.
Oh,
so
cool.
it's Joel and I's voice in the ad, yelling at this Russian dude bouncing around or whatever it is.
You know, when Joel works on those commercials, and we've worked on those, that's probably one of the longest running projects we have in the company. We've been doing that for like 8 years.
That's what I
now.
got hired to Rooster Teeth for, was to help Joel.
Really?
Initially, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
my first thing I did was work on an Assassin's Creed 2 ad.
Yeah, you know,
So-
a lot of times people are, and I don't know how to do it. I was actually thinking about a show, but a lot of times people have questions about like, what does everyone do on a daily basis? Like, I see them on this show, but what do they do? Like, that's always the question.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
if being on the shows is not
Like people would think
enough.
that Joel is just caboose.
Yeah, he just hangs out and waits to
Yeah.
play caboose. But Joel, two of the huge projects that
Sit in a
Joel worked
room.
on was Joel was the lead for up-resing Red vs. Blues season 1 through 3. Because when the Xbox came out and Halo 1 came out and Halo 2, it was all standard def. And so it came a point where we wanted to make this a high def thing, so we had to reshoot 2.5 seasons shot for shot. No small task, and it took a couple of years to get it done. So Joel would work on that between stuff, but then he also does like our commercial projects, which, you know, being known for being able to make a video game look as good as it can and still be representative of the game has a very, you know, cool commercial aspect to
Yeah,
it. Like people hire us to do that and make cool video game shots. We do that for a lot of TV commercials. And Joel does that. And so it's like, it's always interesting because it's sometimes a 30-second commercial can be a 2-month project.
Yeah.
Yeah, with lots of notes and lots of back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because there's always a temp track along the way. So when I see the commercials on TV, I'm always like, that doesn't seem right to me because I've seen it for the last 2 months with just random dudes going, "What's up?" Like whatever your voice you just
Yeah.
did. Come on, let's go. Yeah.
It's fun though. It's neat though, working like with the ESRB and working with developers and things, because I've seen different cuts of ads slowly be like can fit and conformed. And it's like the ESRB, like there's certain things you can't do if it's gonna air on TV. Like you can't punch someone in the face, and so when you do something like Assassin's Creed where you're like knocking guys in and stabbing them in the throat, you just can't do that. And it's kind of like watching Joel figure out ways to creatively hide that stuff is pretty cool. And so
Very talented.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And so, but then doing that led to working more on Achievement Hunter stuff with Jeff in the office, and then that kind of Jeff sort of pulled me in and then brought me in full time to do Achievement Hunter.
And
so,
then what happened, Jack?
and then I've been here for 4.5 years.
And then he bought a house.
And a donkey.
And he
And
bought a
got
donkey
married.
later.
Yeah.
You know, you can, when you say you couldn't rent goats, as far as I know, there's a service, I don't know if it's an Austin or not, where you can rent, I think a lot of like big corporate campuses do it, where they rent goats to just come and eat the grass.
Yeah,
And
well,
the herd
that's what I saw in Seattle at PAX.
right.
Yeah,
Right. That's what they were
that's
doing
how
there.
that's how we got started into all this stuff.
Okay, so
This
the
craziness.
urban goats you saw were there on the berm eating the grass.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
part of an.
There was a sign up that says, we're saving money and we're like, protecting the environment by not using lawnmowers to do this. So
Let me tell you something that was really different about this PAX.
Uh-oh.
Is that we went to Washington State. Washington State is now a state where marijuana is legal.
Oh, yeah.
That's entirely different. Everywhere you go in Seattle smells like pot.
I guess it
Really?
happened between last PAX and this PAX, right?
Absolutely. And like
Didn't even
you
think
can
about
order
that.
pot to your house, like a delivery, like a pizza.
wow,
Like, and
Do you like actual like marijuana or like cookies or something like that?
I don't know.
is there?
I didn't do it, so.
Is there?
I mean, I don't have any problem with people who want to do it, but I didn't do it.
Yeah, is there a legal amount you can have? Do you know, or can you just get like, I want 40 pounds of marijuana? Like,
They used to
I
I
don't know.
think it's
40
decriminalized.
pounds.
But you need a prescription, right?
No,
I don't think
It's-
so in
it's-
Washington.
Yeah, it's
Not in
recreational.
Washington.
So in Colorado and in Washington State, it's recreational use is
Yeah, they have
legal.
shops set up that you could just go in and buy it.
Yeah,
I saw this documentary on the one in Colorado, like the first ever legal weed shop there.
yeah.
And the
it's
guy who
still
was
t-
selling it was
I think Washington, Colorado are
definitely
the
using
most
it.
liberal. And I
Yeah.
think California is the one where you got to have a card and the prescription.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the prescription is like a place that you
I
go
got
to
a
get-
cold.
It literally has a marijuana leaf on the outside of it. And you're like, that's where you go to
Yeah,
get
no,
your
I
marijuana.
had a friend. We were when I was in San Francisco recently. He was saying his friend got the card or whatever you have to buy pot legally, and he went into this place. It was like a doctor's office, big quotes around that. And the receptionist is like, just go in there and say yes to everything he asks. And he's like, okay. And he goes into a room, and it was just a monitor with Skype open, and a doctor sat down and been like, so I hear you have problems with your eyes. And he's like, yes. Have you tried doing this? Yes. Have you tried doing this? Yes. Have you taken this before? Yes. Okay, here you go. And like signed off something and faxed it over. And then the
Wow.
woman's like, all right, here you go, and printed his card out.
There, there's some guy who was stoned when he went in and was like, yes.
No.
I mean, yes.
Shit.
Leaves, comes back. It's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's like, try again, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, shit, I was in an earthquake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of San Francisco,
So you went up to do a thing. Can you talk about the thing you went to do? You went to go visit a video game company.
I'm not sure if I can talk about that. Yes. Sorry.
Yes, Ashley says yes.
Okay, bar goes up. Yes, so I went to 2K to check out Evolve and Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and they're both incredible. I mean, Borderlands. If you love Borderlands, this is more Borderlands, so it's great. And Evolve is incredible.
The new Borderlands pre-sequel has a really interesting mechanic in it, which is it's on the moon, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to have oxygen.
Yeah.
And you have to keep getting oxygen.
Yeah.
So it's almost like playing an entire game underwater in a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's like areas that are like sort of pressurized, so you can get in there and you're fine, and then your oxygen level goes up and down.
And I think for fights you can set up like an oxygen dome.
So I think that might be one of the characters, a special ability. But like,
Okay.
you can play as not Clank, Jesus Christ, the robot. Claptrap. You can play as Claptrap, and he's a robot, so he doesn't need oxygen. So you don't have to worry about it with him, which is kind of cool.
Clever.
He's more of a support character.
Playing as Claptrap seems like a nightmare to me.
Yeah.
Because he talks constantly. He's an annoying character by design.
Yeah.
And so I always get annoyed like by the first person disembodied voice of like, oh yeah. When you get like when you kill something and
Playing
it's like
Duke Nukem again?
Yeah, like that's exactly Duke Nukem. But if Claptrap, I was just like I couldn't imagine like that I would want to just to like turn the game off and throw it out the window.
But it's interesting. So
I don't know, maybe they handled it right.
Yeah, I mean the game takes place between 1 and 2, so it's the prequel to 2, but a sequel of 1. So that's where it falls in that. So you're playing with Handsome Jack, or you're playing for Handsome Jack. He's your boss in the game.
He's just Jack.
But it's before his face is all fucked up. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. And Evolve is just awesome. That was the first time I got any hands on with Evolve, and man, that game is fun.
But what did you play as?
I played as pretty much everything.
Did
I
you
think
play
I
as the
rotated
monster?
through all of them. Yeah.
See, I've never played as the monster
I
yet.
played as Monster twice, and I won both times.
I think I played as Trapper almost exclusively, but I played across. There's 4 different kinds of hunters, and then there's 2 sets of the 4 different
And
classes.
there will be 3 eventually.
Yeah, right?
We saw 2. They're still there. So there's 12 characters total, and we've only seen 8 so far. And apparently there's going to be 3 monsters. We've only seen 2 so far.
It seems to me a game that on the surface is pretty straightforward, but the balance is what I think the thing they're working on the most in that game, because that game's been playable. We played it at PAX East, and it was very, very, very playable. I mean, I could not distinguish between that and a game that was released that week. It was that polished at PAX East. Now, granted, that was 1 set of hunters and 1 monster. The Goliath, I think, is what they call it.
Yeah, and now they have the Kraken.
They had the Kraken is the other one. They had that one at E3.
Yeah,
But that was
he's
just a
the
few months
flies.
later. They had the Kraken at E3. Because PAX East is in, I think, late March or early April. But now the game just got delayed. It was going to come out in the fall, and it got delayed till next spring.
I think February. I think there's like 5 AAA titles coming out in February now, which is like that's the new November is going to be February, and that's just going to be a nightmare for us.
The only thing I can think that would delay that game is working on the balance for that. And I think that game is going to be interesting when it comes out, because a lot of people are going to be hyped about it. They're going to jump into it, and I'll be curious to see what the learning curve does to people.
Yeah.
Like they might have to constantly rebalance that game as the skill set of the audience that playing it kind of locks in.
Well, I could see it as it's like a fighting game where it's kind of like except this 1 versus 4. So it's kind of like you have to make sure anyone at any time could win. Not one class could overpower the other. So
I feel like day 1, the monsters are going to destroy.
Yeah.
And then like a weekend, everyone's going to get stuff figured out, and the hunters are going to be overpowered, are going to feel that way. I just feel like it's going to be it's going to be an interesting game to watch its evolution. Thank you, Barbara. Fist bump.
Nice.
Fist bump.
Boo. All right, let me read this and I'll talk about my earthquake story, okay? All right, Rooster Teeth is brought to you by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider of audiobooks with more than 150,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature and featuring audio versions of many New York Times bestsellers. For our listeners, Audible is offering a free audiobook to give you a chance to try out their service. One audiobook to consider is The Maze Runner, Book 1 by James Dashner. For free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/roosterteeth. That's audible.com/roosterteeth. Yeah.
Nice. Ad read.
So yeah, we were out there in we were out there in San Francisco, and
I want to talk about Maze Runner though before you're too far off.
okay,
of that.
yeah, talk about Maze Runner.
So that was one of the books they suggested, which is being made into a movie. I read a really cool thing about Maze Runner where I think that cinemas are having to do this thing where they're having to compete with how badass home theater experiences are getting.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's one of the main reasons why 3D has gotten so big.
3D always comes back like that. Like they'll release HD TVs, and now 3D is suddenly popular again.
Yeah, and now 4K TVs
Yeah,
are also-
4K. Oh, 3D is still popular again.
Yeah.
that happens.
So Maze Runner, there's 4 theaters in America that are like this. And Maze Runner, I just read an article in the Hollywood Reporter about this. They set up cinemas so you're looking at the screen, and then they put a screen over here and a screen over here, a full cinema screen. Whoa. So it's like, and what I'm demonstrating, if you can't see what I'm talking about, is basically a 180-degree wraparound with 3 cinema screens. And Maze Runner is going to have that experience in those 4 theaters, where they went and added like side stuff for full immersion.
Wow.
What, for like what kind of
Like any movie?
any movie?
No, I think that films had to be filmed for it.
So Maze Runner was
And I
filmed
think
for
with the
it.
article I read that they made the decision after they filmed Maze Runner to do this, so they added digital elements. They like enhanced the movie to take advantage of this.
Okay. Well, that
Which seems like a huge commitment for 4 theaters.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
but it could be the thing where it's like you want to go to that theater to see that movie
an
and that
experience,
special
yeah.
experience. So.
Yeah, and it could also be that the people pushing the technology invested in them to do
That's
it. So
true.
they had, yeah.
That's like D-Box. Like D-Box apparently was pretty big for a while. Like our friend Flash was huge.
You're
in
a
D-Box.
D-Box.
He would always go to. That's the one that like shakes around, right?
D-Box.
Isn't that the one that moves around, or is
Yeah,
that?
so
Yeah.
it's seats that it sounds like something at a shitty amusement park,
Yeah.
but it's seats you sit in that interact with the movie, and you have like a little button that you can push that like increases or lowers the intensity of it.
I would put that shit all the way
They
up.
did like
Fuck yeah, you would.
They did it for like
Watch
Fast and Furious, right?
yeah,
Man. So
Fast Five.
Fast Five. So
Yeah.
speaking of shaking around, so I was in San
Nice.
Francisco.
Oh, yeah, good segue.
Jack.
Thank you. And so we were there, and my buddy, he just bought a condo, and
Deal with it. I actually like these glasses a lot.
That's nice. So he just bought a condo in like the heart of San Francisco, and as a welcoming present or as a housewarming gift to him, we bought a queen size inflatable mattress for him, so we could then stay at his place and actually crash on there instead
Good-
of
good deal.
Yeah, so
I
it
like
worked out-
that. Good
worked out
deal.
pretty nice. So buy him $100 mattress and stay for 2 nights for free or whatever. But anyway, so we were there, and we all went out to dinner, and then I took Katie back to the condo to let her relax, and so. We left, and I went back out, and then went and drank, and then came back. And as I was getting into the bed, when I got into it, it was kind of shifts around a lot. I was like, okay, if you basically push on it, the whole thing would shift. And it's like,
Yeah.
all right. So we're laying in there. I wake up, and then my friend went back out to go drinking some more. So it was just Katie and I there. I wake up in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden the bed's like moving. It feels like someone's pushing the bed. And I was like, oh, okay. I look over, and I was looking for my buddy to see if he was messing with us, and he wasn't there. And I was like, oh, we're just moving. Oh, shit, this is an earthquake. And I'm sitting like, oh, God, we're in an earthquake. And then I immediately look around, and there's nothing above us. There's nothing within falling distance
That's
of us.
good.
So I'm like, okay, we're safe. And then, but like the cabinets are rattling and stuff.
You're in a
like,
building.
I'm like, holy shit, this is
How
like
high
a
up was that?
legit earthquake. This is a 3rd floor.
Okay.
So it wasn't like crazy or anything, but man, it was weird. It's unnatural.
Is that the first earthquake you've ever been in?
Yeah. Apparently it was a pretty big one too. It was like
Congrats.
6.1.
Yeah, it was
So-
all over Twitter.
Yeah.
that I saw that,
Was
and
that
Ashley
shows?
got out before it.
Yeah,
so.
she flew out that morning. But yeah, it was pretty exciting. I was like, huh, that's neat. I've never been in one. Now I can say I've been in an earthquake. So now I've seen a tornado with my own eyes. I've been in an earthquake. I've been through a hurricane. So I don't know. I need a monsoon and like a blizzard to get through. And I've made like my bingo checklist of all of my like natural disasters is covered.
What do you think would be the weirdest thing to be in an earthquake? Like oh, I was on a trampoline in an earthquake, or I was on, or like horse, or you know what I mean? So something that's like,
Horse.
Oh, coming back to the horse.
no, you know what I'm saying? Like
Someone's on a
something
horse.
that's like,
The horse would probably freak out, so
Yeah,
I wouldn't
like-
want to be on a horse.
If you said I was on a horse during an earthquake, I wouldn't ask where was the earthquake. I would ask why are we on a horse. That's, I would
or like
immediately
in a
say,
pool or something.
Swimming pool.
Like if you're in a pool, like
Yeah,
how,
because I
what is that
imagine that's
like?
probably like
So
it ripples a little
the
bit.
new big thing is like have you like
D-box chair.
have you heard of people going to like deprivation chambers?
Oh, yeah, there's
apparently
one-
that's like the new big thing.
There's
It's
one
like,
in Austin.
Yeah. So
Right by my
apparently-
house.
My friend did one up in Fort Worth, and he's like, "It's really cool. You should check it out." Imagine being in one of those during an earthquake. That would mess with you because it's pitch black and you're in like a foot of
What's
water.
the point of
Wait,
it?
so
What
yeah.
is this thing?
Apparently, it's like meditation, right? I
Well,
don't know.
basically, what it is you rob your mind of any external input. So they put you in a tank of water that the salinity kind of balances out your buoyancy, so you float. And then the water is the same temperature as your skin, so it's supposed to feel like you're not supposed to feel it either. You know, it's supposed to be like perfect temperature, like dead even with your skin. And then they close the lid, like they put you in a pod, close the lid where there's no sight
Are
and
you
no sound.
lying on your back?
And you're just floating in this thing. From what I understand, I've never done it before. This is what I understand. And then you go total sensory deprivation. And then when your mind does not have anything, it just starts to generate it. So it's like I've heard that people have like hallucinations.
Yeah.
They have pure thoughts and all this stuff. And people swear by it.
Yeah.
And there's one in Austin. I believe it's called the Zero Gravity Institute. I think that's what it's called.
That's it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Fucking A, Patrick.
Nice.
We should check that out.
I would not do
Company-
that.
company
Yeah, I don't know
trip,
if I'd
would
want to do that.
absolutely do that.
Is there
I
like
would
a,
not.
I don't trust
Is there
myself
like
in that.
I like being in my
quick
own brain,
release
so
or
I'm fine.
something?
It's going.
Yeah, could you like get out if you
Like,
want to?
Yeah. There's a apparent. Well, at least the one my buddy went to, he said there was a button you could hit to turn the light on.
Okay.
And then I'm sure it's like a panic switch or
Because
something.
I would
you
feel
could
like
give
I
him a
would
goat.
I would freak out in there.
yeah. So here's what it looks like if you're watching the stream at home.
Kind of looks like
Looks like a gym shower.
yeah.
or a freezer?
It looks
Not
like a
at all
giant
what I
white
thought
box.
it would look like.
Yeah, I imagine some pod type thing. Like
Do you go in naked?
I don't know.
Why is that your first question?
Well, then it's just.
Because
Well, yeah, and
it's
here's the question
supposed
too:
to-
if you go in naked, is it just a bunch of guys like, what else am I gonna do? I'm
What does that
naked.
mean?
Well, people just jerking off in the deprivation chambers.
is that your first thought when
Really?
you're naked? Is what I guess I just
when you're
jerk
by
off.
yourself, that's immediately what you go to. Not like, all right, I'm gonna enjoy this peaceful time with myself and see what
Oh,
my
well,
brain
that's
comes up with. It's
what
like,
else
nope, spanking time.
It's enjoying
You're
a
alone
peaceful
with your
time.
thoughts.
How much is something like that cost? Are you looking that up right now, Burns? Or
No. I was
Okay.
looking at questions on Twitter actually, see if anybody had anything.
man,
75 bones. So, Patrick, have you done this before?
No.
He's
Oh,
just an
Patrick's
expert
looking
in
at
it
the
for some
website.
reason. How suspect?
We should.
But
We
I would
should
like to
have
check that
some-
out.
Patrick, our
You should
producer,
go.
is saying, giving us, feeding us information about this. He says it's $75, but that he's never done it
Okay,
before.
so looks
Wink.
like he's wearing a bathing. Although it's just a picture of it, so
it looks like his
maybe you
legs
do
are
go in it.
sticks too from this angle.
Yeah, fucking skip leg day, bro.
Yeah, no,
like a
I'm all
turkey.
about that. I like that. I like that kind of experience, sort of that peaceful
So go do it.
experience. I'll give it a shot.
Go do it.
Dude,
Go build one.
You know what?
In your
Okay, let me
bathroom.
tell you something I did that I might catch some flack for. I don't know, maybe not, but probably not. I got I've gotten massages before. Like I got a subscription to the local place to get massages.
Is that a weird thing? Because I know another dude recently. I don't want to call him out because Gavin will get mad at me. But he said he'd never gotten a massage before, and he was thinking about getting one coming up, and it was like a decision.
Oh no, they're awesome. Like,
But is it a weird thing to
No.
get a massage? Is it?
Not
I
at
don't
all.
think- I've gotten massages.
I've
before.
only
It's
gotten
fun.
2 in my life, and they were both
Yeah, but
terrible.
Chris, when you say with a weird smile on your face, it's so weird. You make it
it's
weird.
fun.
No, it's just like it's.
I mean, I was alone for 5 minutes before he came in. So
Here's what you do: you just get a couple goats and you lay on the ground,
throw grass on your
dance
back.
on your
and then
back.
you punch your masseuse.
No, I've never had like a.
That's how you get out at the end.
no,
They
I've
start
never,
biting you. That's when you start punching.
Sucker punch the masseuse.
I've never done like an actual or not a one of those massages.
Chris, listen.
Let him finish.
Nobody can see it, but no. When he said the massage thing, demonstrated massage. Chris went underhanded with massage. What does that
I've
mean?
never done that. I've never done.
If a masseuse comes at you like
Yeah,
this,
that's-
with underhanded, just get away.
No,
Yeah.
the only massages I've been to were just normal massages.
But why are you going like this?
What's somebody rubbing your
I'm gonna
arms
put-
for?
I wish
He's
if
sitting
you're
on his
listening to audio
hands now.
podcast, I wish there's nothing more unnormal than Chris describing physically what normal looks like. It's like he's like picking at his own arm. It's like slowly.
Usually, if you're demonstrating massage, you go like this. You pretend to rub shoulders.
Yeah, okay,
Your
all right.
thumbs.
Well,
Yeah, rotate
yeah.
the thumbs. Video game style.
All right, yeah. So
Joystick.
the only
Chris is doing his
no,
best.
your
it's not.
massage-
It's not this.
Chris is doing his
continue
best.
your massage
Like
story.
a
I didn't-
bear.
I've only had normal massages. Is what I'm trying to get at. That's what I'm saying.
For the record.
All right. So anyway,
Wait, but where were you going with that?
All I said was massages are nice.
Oh, okay.
And he's had one. So
yes,
we've all
only
had
normal
massages.
though.
Totally normal thing.
Totally normal. So anyway, so we were getting massages, and I called up and I was like, "Hey, I've got like 3 free hours. Can you book in a massage here?" They said, "Sure. Your masseuse will be Preston." And I was like, I've never had a dude massage me before. All right, I'll give it a shot. I'm never going back.
Really?
It was awesome. Like they have like strength in their hands.
You're never gonna go back the old way.
Yeah.
I thought you'd never
typically-
go back to the dude.
No, typically you get like like a female massage a male and vice versa. And so this is the first time I actually had a guy rub my shoulders. Like holy shit! Like I've never had that much pressure and stuff before.
Yeah.
Like it's
Stronger
really
hands
really
usually.
good. So anyway, so I totally recommend you get a guy masseuse. It's the way to go.
I had a massage one time. That was the worst
Oh,
experience
tumblers
of my
down.
life.
No, it's on fire. It's totally totally
Sorry, go
different.
ahead.
I was saying I had a massage one time, like professional massage.
Yeah.
It was the worst experience of my life.
Why is that?
Yeah.
I don't know where in the communication process they thought that I wanted like a deep tissue massage.
Oh.
But I did not.
Yeah.
And considering this was my first massage I've ever had,
You were probably like nervous
it
and
was
didn't know what to say.
Exactly. And it hurt like it was a 60-minute massage. It hurt the entire time. And I was in physical pain like the whole time, just like
Now-
in pain like that.
Who was the masseuse?
It was a woman. I don't know her name.
What'd she look like?
Cheryl.
She was a white lady.
Oh yeah,
with-
let me tell you something. This is a warning to everybody. Not to be racist. That means I'm about to be racist. If you see a short Asian lady coming to give you a massage, run the fuck away. They are the strongest people on the fucking
Yeah.
planet. They are mean. They are like
But,
massage in Asia means like we're gonna make you scream at the top of your lungs for an hour so that you appreciate the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's what it is, basically. it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Especially like they have. I've never done it. But I've read reports like foot massage. They have those places like all over San Francisco. They have those foot massage places. It's a big thing in
The
Asian culture.
reflexology and all that.
Yeah, there you go. And apparently that is fucking brutal. But
Yeah.
everybody who does it swears by it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some people like it, and
Yeah.
it relieves a lot of tension, I guess. And I apparently had a lot of knots in my muscles that she would work all the way through my back, and I would feel it going all the way down, and it would be just excruciating. I got physically sick after it.
They say that's a thing like
Because-
toxins coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've
actually
always-
got a fever, and I had the chills for like 4 days after
You're supposed
it.
to drink a lot of water after you get out of
Yeah,
those
I did
things.
not know that. She
Yeah.
didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little. That always sounds a little sketchy. It's like you got toxins seeping out of your muscles. I'm like, what are you? I don't have toxins. You shut up.
What are you talking about?
How you
Barbara.
dare you?
Sorry.
You're reaching.
Sorry.
But,
what happens
but yeah, no,
anyway.
like this, so it was awesome, and then like I was actually sore the next day, like my back was hurting the next day because like he'd actually done it properly for the first time in my life. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's what a massage is supposed to do to you. Cool.
Yeah.
Because I have very high pain tolerance, and so like basically when I tell him like how hard do you want, I'm like, try to hurt me, like you won't hurt me, try to hurt me, and he got the closest anybody ever has, and it was fantastic. So
Busted out a fucking jackhammer.
don't laugh at me. I hear you laugh.
Katie's off behind us laughing.
So
That was a
The
pun.
there's the other thing too that I've seen. I think it's called goi sha. It's like they take a bone handle thing, and they use that tiger balm, and they just rub like. There's a couple weird things in massage, like cupping, that looks like you got attacked by a freaking octopus. Monty's girlfriend does
Oh,
that.
I saw that on a thing, TV show.
Yeah, they like take a jar.
Okay.
It's a little round jar. I mean, it doesn't have to be a round jar. It's just like jar. And they put a flame in it, so they heat the air in it. Then they immediately put it on your back.
Oh,
Not
so-
with the flame to burn you, but so then the air contracts and it sucks in there. It's a vacuum.
So it's like sucking sections of your skin up in these.
Have you
tubs.
done it, Barb?
No, I've seen pictures of it, but
that
that's
sounds
what it looks
dangerous.
Yeah, there you go. And
Ugh.
that's actually a device I've seen. We're showing a picture here of somebody who's using had a cupping device on him, and it's like
Looks
a
like
gun.
she has a bunch of huge nipples
That's
on
and
her
that's
back.
those little things. And then sometimes they use like I guess oil or whatever on your back, some kind of lubricant, and then they slide those things around.
Ugh.
But that'll leave like it looks like somebody got attacked by an octopus because
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
sucker marks all over them. But the goi sha is like the pictures from that stuff. It's like the big Chinese philosophy of like meridians and stuff, which I don't necessarily believe in, but they go along those. So people have like these like big, huge, like red, like massive. It looks like you can see the ribs in their back, but it just bruises along their back. And people fucking swear by it. They just swear by it. And I think the logic I read is if you rub the area and it turns red like that, it's like that's because it shows that there's stagnant blood. It's like, no, you're rubbing their as hard as you can
Yeah.
with a bone handle.
You're creating a
rubbing your
bruise. That's
skin.
totally different.
Yeah, it's like if I hit you in the hammer, it's like you had brain damage.
Yeah.
And that's how we tested it by hitting you with a fucking hammer.
All right, Bernie. So I think you might owe me an apology.
Nope.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I don't.
We need to talk about this. I said Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be incredible
here
and
it
one of
is.
the best
I
movies of the
said,
year.
okay, go ahead.
I think
and
you're thinking
you
about
and Gus both shit on it hardcore.
I shit on the trailer for it. I
The
did.
trailer was amazing.
But I don't
No.
want anyone to think that I wanted the movie bad. And when I saw the movie, I came on immediately and said how great it was. I
Okay.
didn't go in trying to hate the movie.
All right, now it is the number one grossing movie of the year, and it has become the number one highest grossing Marvel first movie. So it beat Iron Man 1 as the highest grossing
So basically,
start of a franchise.
quote unquote, like new IP.
Yeah.
What about the Avengers?
It didn't beat the Avengers?
No, well, I mean that's I think that doesn't count as a sort of like
Yeah, that had a
'cause
lot
that's-
of lead-ins.
Yeah, yeah,
That did.
That's
I
basically
guess
kind
it
of
was
like the
kind of like a
continuation.
sequel to multiple.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
it's
like a
one-
tie-up sequel, dude. That
Yeah.
thing was.
So
yeah.
I love
speaking
that
of
movie.
which, Avengers 2. Have you seen pictures of the Vision?
Oh no! Please don't.
Okay.
Please don't. I'm so excited.
Okay, I won't say anything.
So they put up pictures of the Vision.
Please don't.
huh?
I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
There's
Yeah.
some convention and there's like a big wall thing and it has all the characters like all up. And
It's okay. My Twitter feed's about to fill with pictures of the Vision. I'm sure. You know. But
So I mean, like it's like it's just kind of a grainy photo, but it's like, oh shit, that's the Vision. Cool. So
Betty gives a good back rub. The
That's all Jack could think of now.
growing up as a kid reading
Strong
the
hands.
Avengers, the Vision was always like the key Avenger. Like he lasted through so many like
yeah.
different teams.
He was in the first group of the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't wonder how many people know that, like, reading the comics, like, you guys know who the Avengers are, right? That team is not static. Like, there's like a weird, like, rule that the Avengers can't have more than 6 members, and they just rotate through them.
Yeah.
At least there was when I was reading the Avengers growing up, and they would just constantly rotate through them. And then a lot of what the movies are based on now are kind of the re-envisioned, rebooted
Yeah.
versions. Like, Nick
even-
Fury is not a black dude in the comics that I
Well,
read
he
growing
is
up.
in one of the universes now.
No, the rebooted universe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Which
yeah.
I think started as the Ultimates, if I
that
recall
sounds
correctly.
right. Well, even like Guardians of the
Where's
Galaxy.
John Reisinger when you need him?
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the cast from the movie, none of those characters were in the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I mean,
Another thing I didn't know.
what's that?
Because when I was making fun of the movie, like, I think my main complaint was they're making movies now about the most obscure Guardians of the Galaxy. I consider to be like a 70s comic that nobody read, like
Yeah.
Dazzler or Cloak and Dagger. But it wasn't. It was based on a 2008 reboot.
Yeah.
That was really very popular.
Yeah. But like Yondu, the guy with the mohawk, like he's an original Guardians of the Galaxy. He's in the original crew, like
Yeah.
Michael Rooker's character. And
And Drax is very different too in the comics. Like,
Yeah.
he's changed quite a bit.
apparently Drax is actually really smart in the comics. Like he's actually like a really intelligent dude. And they kind of make
He
him
was
more
pretty
of a,
smart in the movie.
Well, they kind of make him a brute though in this. You know, he's kind of
Yeah.
like he has no sense of humor or anything, and he like took everything literal. You know,
Yeah,
like,
kinda
nothing
seen
goes
as
over
more
my
just
head.
the muscle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a good.
But I don't know. Everything about Guardians of the Galaxy was fantastic.
It was awesome.
I've seen it in theaters now. I think twice, maybe 3 times, and yeah, it's awesome.
I do agree. I didn't think the trailers were great.
I thought the
It
trailer was
didn't make me
fantastic.
like want to see the movie any more or less.
Well, see, to me, the trailer, it didn't show any major plot points. It just showed you a bunch of cool visuals, and I was like, I have no idea what that is. I want to find out what that is.
That's why, in hindsight, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't spoil anything for you. It was just like, there's a bunch of crazy looking shit, including a raccoon on a tree's back with a giant gun.
I was waiting for that song the whole time, though. Ooga chaka, ooga ooga.
There's a lot of good music in that one, too. Another good soundtrack.
The soundtrack is probably my favorite one of any movie recently.
I thought it was a little heavy-handed, but that's okay. 'Cause
What's
it's-
that?
It's like too integrated for some reason.
Well, you know, he actually, so James Gunn wrote the script with the music, like he wrote the music into the script. So it was literally written for it. And there's only one song in the movie that wasn't in the script, and I forget what that one is. Like I don't know what that one is. So
Happy birthday.
probably.
It was too expensive.
That is like the most expensive song to license.
No,
right?
it's just a common one that they license that gets sung a lot. I don't think it's the most expensive, and I wouldn't imagine. I wonder what would be qualified as the most expensive.
You know, restaurants aren't
something Beatles
legally allowed
related.
to
That's
sing
what
Happy
I say,
Birthday.
like a Beatles song.
But I think Guardians of the Galaxy, which are most of them are owned by Michael Jackson's estate now. He bought most of the Beatles library
yeah.
at the advice of Paul McCartney. Did you ever hear that story?
No.
They made a video together called "Say Say Say." They made a song, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, in the mid '80s. And Michael Jackson was like, it was after Bad and what was his Off the Wall? What was the one that had Billie Jean and
I think it's off the wall.
Thriller was the big one. For him.
Okay.
So it's after Thriller. I just couldn't think of the name of the album. He had a ton of money, and he was already one of the biggest stars in the world. And he's getting advice from Paul McCartney on what to do. And Paul McCartney said, "Well, since you have a lot of money, you might want to invest in like music catalogs." And Michael Jackson's like, "Okay." So he bought the Beatles. He bought the Beatles catalog. And like Paul McCartney's interviews about that, he's like, "Yeah, I should have just kept my mouth shut." Because then like he licensed it out for like Nike and stuff like that. Stuff the
okay.
Beatles probably would have never done.
That was a great Michael Jackson impression too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
It was actually my Mike Tyson.
You know, there's, the Beastie Boys actually just won or the remaining Beastie Boys just won a lawsuit where someone used their music in a commercial because the Beastie Boys
Shit.
said they would never ever allow their music to be in commercials. And I think it was like Red Bull or Nike or someone put like Body Moving in a song, and they sued the shit out of them and won.
Really?
Yeah. So that's
Nice.
kind of cool.
Good for the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
No, apparently 2013. Here's an interesting article. This is from the Daily Mail. Sir Paul McCartney. This is dated August 15th, 2013 from the Daily Mail or the Mail Online, which if Gavin were here, he could tell me if this is reputable or not. Reputable or not. Sir Paul McCartney is set to win back the rights to the Beatles song. The veteran rocker, 71, lost ownership of the publishing rights to the songs he co-wrote with late bandmate John Lennon. Sir Paul was furious when his former friend Michael Jackson outbid him to buy the Associated Television Corporation's back catalog, which included the Beatles tracks in 1985. The King of Pop paid a reported $47.5 million
God, that's it.
for between 160 and 260 Beatles classics, including Yesterday and Let It Be. However, the 1976 U.S. Copyright Act means Sir Paul will now be able to claim back the titles once more in 5 years, according to The Sun. Interesting. So he's going to get it back. Paul's been fuming for decades. It's as much personal as business. Now he'll get back what is rightfully his.
$47 million for the entire Beatles catalog.
$47.5 million.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, you could license that out to
That's like 4 commercials, and you pay
Yeah,
it
4
back.
commercials you probably get back. I think there was a I want to say it was Microsoft wanted for Windows 95 when they introduced the start
They did
button.
Start Me Up. It was,
They wanted Start Me Up the Rolling Stones. And the Rolling Stones were like, okay, you want to license our song for your software commercials? It'll be, and they came up with a ridiculous
That
number.
was like $3 million.
And Bill Gates was like, okay.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like an astronomical amount.
Yeah.
And they were just like, and Bill Gates was like, okay. Rock stars have a lot of money? Check this out.
I make that in 5 minutes.
I'm going to see. I'll look up how much they actually paid for that.
Wasn't there a stat that said like the time it takes for Bill Gates to lean down and pick up a $20 bill, like or a $100 bill, he's already made more than that.
Not anymore. Dude's
Yeah.
given away, I think, 25% of his wealth so far. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cheaper for him to keep walking,
When-
it's still
yeah.
the same, but it's like, by the time he bends down and picks it up, he's made more money in interest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
we talked
nuts.
about this on a recent podcast where the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is astounding. Like, if you were going to count to $1 million, it would take you about 2 weeks. But if you're going to count to $1 billion, it would take you like 56 years or something like
Jesus.
that. Yeah. It's just, it's a big jump.
Let's
Yeah,
start.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it must not suck to be Bill Gates. Elon Musk just shot off another rocket. He's doing
Crashed
pretty
one,
good.
too.
Huh? Well, no, it's intentionally crashed one. You don't want to start spreading things like that.
Are you
want-
sure he intentionally
Yeah,
crashed
yeah.
one?
So what happened was
It's like, yeah, I meant to do that.
No, it was a test rocket.
Yeah,
so
whatever.
so they have the rocket now. I think Falcon 9 is what it's called, and that's the one they're using. Like they actually just launched one yesterday where they put a satellite into space, and like that's the rocket they've developed, and it's done. They're making a test version of a newer one, and they tested the launch thing, and it got in the air. And it hit enough of like the abort protocols that they blew it up in the air, because instead of it like launching off and like suddenly it's in McGregor, Texas and killing people, they're like, we'd rather just blow it up over farmland. And so they blew it up.
Well, that's a crashed rocket.
Well, it's a test rocket. Like
Yeah.
they had safety precautions where if something were to happen.
That's like, you can't fire me, I quit. You know what I mean? It's right.
But,
It's along those same lines.
But they're saying by the end of next year they're going to try they're going to, I think not the next flight, but maybe the one after that. I don't know if you've seen the video of these rockets that take off and then they move and they come back and land. Like they land upright.
It's part of isn't it part of the SpaceX like goals?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the reusable rockets is what they're doing. And so there's an image of the exploded rocket if you're watching at home.
really unimpressive.
Yeah.
It's just like
It
kind of
looks like a piece of cauliflower that's floating.
Yeah.
in the
look at
sky.
the world's shittiest firework.
So the next big thing they're trying to do
Probably
is
like $48 million. It's going up in
You
flames.
could buy the Beatles for that.
the next one.
Let it be. Paul McCartney is furious about that explosion.
So the next thing they're going to try to do is actually have a floating landing pad in the ocean where they're going to try to land a rocket on a
What?
floating landing pad, because if something goes wrong, it'll hit water and like right now they've just been crashing them into the water. Like they've been acting like they're going to land them and then they basically get down to where they would stop and then just fall over. But now they're actually going to put a pad out there for them to try to land on. And then if that goes well, I think that they successfully do that like 2 or 3 times, then the FAA, or I don't know who's in charge of the airspace of for rockets, is going to allow them to try to do it on land. Then if they do it on land enough times, and it's like, okay, you're approved to land rockets and reuse them.
And if they land on the pad in the ocean, everybody gets a free Taco Bell taco.
we get 5 wings from Pluckers or
How
something.
big are
what
these?
was that promotion that Taco Bell did? That
which one?
something was going to crash, a satellite or something was going to come out of orbit, and they put a big thing out in the ocean, and they said if it hits that, we will give everyone in America a free taco. Do you remember that?
No.
Not at
Yeah,
all.
it was a Taco Bell promotion. I'll look it up while you're reading.
That was
kinda
an
cool.
Olympics thing. Didn't they do something like that where it's like every
Taco
gold
Bell
medal?
free taco.
They do stuff like that at sports events a lot, like
Yeah.
food companies. I know when I went to hockey games, they're like, if our team scores more than 5 goals, everyone gets a free slice of pizza.
Yeah, I
from this
remember
place.
when UT basketball, if they would score 85 points, everyone in the arena would get like 5 free wings from Pluckers or
Yeah.
something. And so when they got to about 80, everyone started chanting chicken wings, like chicken wings, and they'd score and everyone would lose their mind. And so
March 19th, 2001, Taco Bell is offering a free taco to everyone in the United States if the core of the space station mirror hits a floating Taco Bell target placed in the South Pacific.
Man.
It is literally a 40 by 40 like tarp with a bullseye with a Taco Bell, a bell in the middle of it. It just says free taco here.
Wow.
That is genius.
Man, nothing gets Americans going other than free food.
Free stuff, man. Free
Free
stuff's the
food.
way to go.
Soviet space station crashing. Everybody gets a free taco.
Tacos here.
All right, let me read this
It's a
real quick.
good way to start, like, get a war going or something. It's like, yeah, but if we attack
A good
Russia,
way to get a
everyone
war
gets a free
going.
taco.
That's a good way to get a war going. All right, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website, portfolio, or online store. Squarespace has been around for 9 years, and they are constantly improving their platform with new features, new designs, and even better support. They have beautiful designs for you to start with, and they have a ton of style options, so you can create a unique website for you or your business. They recently released 20 new customizable templates, and every design automatically includes a mobile experience that matches the overall style of your website, so your content looks great on every device every time. Squarespace has won several design awards, including FWA, that's the Favorite Website Awards, the Webbies, Forbes, and the AW Awards for website designs. It's AWWW. There's 3 W's in there. And their customer support team has also won awards, most recently a Gold Stevie Award for outstanding customer service. Squarespace is commerce ready to provide a powerful and flexible e-commerce solution so you can set up shop, and sell things quickly. One of the things I like most about Squarespace is just like how easy it is. Like I know a lot of people have actually set these things up really, really quick, and it's nice. And working on portfolios is pretty cool. It's also very cool that you can easily embed a Twitch.tv player into any page on your Squarespace website so that you can share a favorite gaming moment. Squarespace starts at just $8 a month and includes a free domain name if you sign up for a year. So if you haven't already, give Squarespace a try. You don't need a credit card. Just start building your website. If you decide to sign up, you can use the offer code RoosterTeeth to get 10% off and to show your support for Rooster Teeth. That's squarespace.com, offer code RoosterTeeth. We thank Squarespace for their support.
Thank you, Squarespace.
Thank you, Squarespace.
Thank you.
And just in case anyone is curious, and I know that you are, I checked. FreeTacoFromSpace.com is available
Excellent.
There we go. Well, not anymore.
if you want to run a lucrative promotion.
What do you think would have happened if it landed there?
Everyone got a free taco.
But how do they manage that?
They take insurance out on
If
stuff
everyone
like
in
that.
America gets a free Taco Bell taco, that's 350 million people. That would cost like $10,000. Taco Bell. I mean,
But how do they know if someone already got one? Like, I would just come back in with a mustache.
Tacos for Bill Gates to have to bend down to pick it up in time.
They just do a day where everybody gets a free taco, and Taco Bell will be like, "We gotta suck this up."
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
And do it.
Do you remember when McDonald's used to do tax day where they would have nickel burgers? So like burgers would be 5 cents and cheeseburgers would be 10 cents, and you could get a max of 10 of each.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember I was in college when that happened, and I remember all my friends.
And it was for tax day.
Yeah, so it was like April, whatever.
Do you guys just starve yourself until that day and you're like,
Well,
couldn't
it's a
load
buck.
up?
You go give them a buck, and they give you 10 burgers, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. But
I would totally, if it was free taco day, I would go to a couple different taco places.
I've done that before.
Taco
Not
Tacos
taco
are good.
days, but just like things where they give like.
You just went to a bunch of different restaurants. And
No, it was like some restaurant had some promotion where you dress up or something and you got a free.
Oh,
Well,
it's Chick-fil-A.
yeah, went to.
yeah, you fuckers all came to work in your pajamas that day.
yeah,
That
and then
was
we got
a-
a bunch of free.
no, well, I mean that's not
chicken.
saying much.
Chipotle
They
also
came in
does
their
that for
pajamas and
Halloween.
like,
Chipotle does that for Halloween.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're in costume, you
Was
can
it
get
Chipotle or was it Chick-fil-A?
It was both different times.
anything that starts with a CH.
why not?
The founder of Chick-fil-A just died.
Yeah, that's
I
unfortunate.
got nothing to add.
There's
No.
a lot of celebrity deaths lately, a lot of big name deaths lately. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, Joan Rivers died.
Yeah, Joan Rivers died.
She did.
And she's it's really interesting. She's a pretty, cantankerous. She was like a
Yeah.
like a Don Rickles style comic where she'd make fun of everybody and made fun of life in general. But it is funny how like people will immediately shift and become very respectful.
Yeah.
But people like talk about their impact and everything. The biggest impact I took from Joan Rivers' career, which is, I don't think a lot of people would remember this, but she was next in line to be the host for The Tonight Show after Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
She was the guest host. If Johnny Carson was not on The Tonight Show, it was her. And this is back when there was like, that was it. There was no David Letterman show on another network.
Yeah.
That was the late night talk show. The Tonight Show was a juggernaut. And Fox started as a network, and they made her an offer to come over to Fox and do a late night talk show to compete with Johnny Carson. And she took the job, completely and totally burned a bridge with Johnny Carson. Was like, he
Shit.
banned her, for life, like never spoke to her again from what I understand. And Fox canceled the show in a year.
That's
like
brutal.
canceled her show like in like a year, maybe a year and a half. And it was a huge, like I saw interviews with her later where she said it was a huge regret that she had. And now I don't know if she ever repaired her relationship with Johnny Carson, and Jay Leno became the guest host and then took over and had a long career as the host of The Tonight Show. But yeah, she probably would have been the female host, the first ever female host for late night talk shows, and she would have been on The Tonight Show as the host, Joan Rivers.
Man.
And
She was
I think that kind of
hilarious.
stuff is interesting because it's like, you know, you got to take risks in life. You know what I mean? And it was definitely a tough risk in her career, but it was like she had an opportunity to do something. She did it, and it didn't pay off. But that doesn't necessarily mean it was the wrong decision. It was certainly a tough decision.
Yeah.
But I always thought, you know, even though it didn't work out, I always respected it, and I always thought it was really bold of her to do it, even though it was tough. And it was, you know, a lot of people would say maybe it wasn't even the most moral of decisions, but sometimes you just got to do what's right for you in your career, and it didn't pay off. But I always, in a weird way, respected it a lot. You know what I mean? And it sucks what happened, you know, to her in that regard. But
Mamrie Hart had a great speech about her at the Streamies.
Mamrie Hart,
Yeah.
I agree. She kind of ended it on like I don't like vulgarity in like stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and she ended on a vulgar note. But she had a really, Mamrie Hart had the job to, at the Streamies, do the tribute to Joan Rivers, and she did it perfectly because she did it as a toast and not as a like sappy kind of.
Yeah.
She figured that's the way that Joan wanted to do it. Joan had a web show where she would invite a bunch of guests on from web shows and be clever. And she was like in her 80s, and she's doing that stuff. And Mamrie was on it, and Hannah Hart, and like the Tyler Oakley.
Chester C, I think also.
I have no idea what Tyler Oakley does. I freely admit that.
I don't either, but he is the big thing.
Enormous.
Yeah.
At VidCon, he was like the Beatles. I mean, it was crazy.
I
like
think he's just a vlogger.
he would walk in and people would just go ape shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is he-
mobs of people.
Is he an LA guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I gotta say, there's one thing that kind of annoys me about the internet world, like the internet personality world, is how LA driven it is.
That
now.
ship has sailed, dude.
Really?
That ship has totally sailed.
You think so?
You know what was the
I don't
moment when I
know.
realized that for me? Was the dude who made Chocolate Rain
Yeah.
moved to LA.
Tazon Day.
Tezonde. And there was a whole like I think you can still find it online. I think it was like a Dr. Pepper ad.
Yeah.
He's like
dark.
yeah.
It was like dark
He's like-
chocolate
he's
or
like-
cherry dark chocolate rain. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
He's like, yeah, we all moved to LA. You know, I'm telling you my Tezonde voice. He's got an amazing voice.
It's good. It's
Thank
almost,
you.
I like it more than your Michael Jackson.
Yes, thank you.
That's saying a lot.
It's like it's basically the same voice I use when I try to imitate an orc in World of Warcraft. But he was talking about how he moved to LA. There's a whole scene there with everybody in YouTube in LA, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the most expensive places in the world to live. It's one of the most expensive places in the world to produce content. You know, if you want to like film on Venice Beach, you need a permit. The cops will stop you for busting out a
There's
video
also
camera.
so much competition in LA.
Yeah, well, it's just.
Well, I don't know.
but
It's kind of the weird, like, incestual thing, though. Like, you see, like, especially I see, like, Viners and stuff all the time that are, like, big in LA, and they're always in each other's stuff. And
Yeah.
then you see these YouTube people, like, keep appearing in each other's video because they're all in LA now. And, like, I don't like that. I don't like that LA is, like, you know, they don't have to be there, but it's like, you see people there getting bigger almost like artificially, like
Yeah.
inflating themselves just because there's a lot of people in LA.
I agree with you.
What do you mean artificially?
Well, I mean, like, so, like, say for example, like we live in LA, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take my my user base. You know, I've got 200,000 people that watch me on my YouTube channel. You've got 500,000 people. I'm gonna go be in 3 of your videos, and then you put them up on your channel. Then you come be in 3 of mine, and then my audience will jump to you. You'll jump to mine. But like, you're seeing a lot of that stuff, and like, it just
But that's collaboration. That's
well, it's collaboration to a point, but it's still you see a whole bunch of that, and it feels, I don't know, kind of disingenuous. But-
Now, do you feel like that because you're not participating in it? Because we collaborate. Like for Gauntlet, we had a bunch of people on there as well.
Yeah, but I mean, that was sort of a one-off thing. I'm talking like if we had if every other Let's Play had, you know, C-Nanners pop
Game
into it, or
Grumps.
Gassy Mexican, or, you know, Game Grumps, or, you know, the creatures, they're like, if we did that constantly, that's a little
people would
bit-
love it.
I don't think so, because I mean, like, when we bring in new people, I can't even talk right now, into our channel, like, it's a whole process of getting someone to established. And like, we did a C-Nanner show. We were actually on a show one time, and like, that video with us didn't do as, you know.
Yeah, that's always the thing too. Like for instance, we did a whole week of stuff with Mega 64
Yeah,
where we brought them
yeah.
down here, and it was weird because they have a huge audience and we have a huge audience, and when we worked on stuff together, that's like somehow was like people were not as interested in that
Yeah,
stuff. You know
so
what I mean?
I think
Even though
our-
we really liked working with those guys.
I think maybe the fact, I mean, we don't.
and their audience, to be fair, I'm not saying that like they brought our stuff down. I'm saying their audience was not interested in us being in their stuff.
Yeah.
It was
No.
very equal opportunity negativity.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I think our audience is very, I don't want to say protective of us, But I think they kind of have this idea of what we are, and they don't like idea of like throwing in more spices into our sort of mix. You know what I mean?
You're talking very specifically about your show.
Well, I'm talking about Rooster Teeth in general. I mean, like Gauntlet, it kind of worked out because that show was sort of made for like it could have that sort of celebrity guest group, and I think that worked. But I think that if we dropped in guests into the podcast on a regular basis, I mean, every time we brought guests on here, it's always been a little bit weird.
It always depends. The developers are harder because they're not used to being on mic. But when we had Kumail on, people love that, and I thought that was a good one. No, but I get what you mean. I mean, but listen, we have a very dedicated audience, and we're very lucky.
Yeah,
to have
absolutely.
that.
No, our audience is incredible. I mean,
and that's like I thought about that at the Streamies too. Is that like the interesting story of Rooster Teeth over time is the story of longevity, in that we're sitting there at the Streamies, and I wouldn't say that. I try to pick a point at which we were like the number one entertainment entity online, and I can't really pick out a point in our 12-year history where we had that.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have a 12-year history, like we were making content with like the guys from Homestar Runner, and we were making content when the Guild was big, and when Dr. Horrible was big, and then when the vloggers for YouTube were coming around, and then lately with stuff like Video Game High School and all that stuff, and it's like we're still in that room, you know what I mean? We're still going, and we still have an audience, and it's like not everyone can tell that same story.
A lot of people have come and gone.
Yeah, we even waited. I mean, when YouTube started getting big, we held out before we started putting stuff up on YouTube. It was probably a good 2 or 3 years after YouTube kind of started really hitting like social conscious. Like people really started looking at YouTube before we even got into that space.
Yeah, it was funny in that they had like a little intro video at the Streamies where they had like years go by on YouTube, and they would show like little clips.
Every career starts with the first upload.
Yeah.
So it was everybody's first upload.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And so it was going year by year, and it said 2008, and it showed the first clip of Red vs. Blue. You ever wonder why we're here?
2008.
And of course we cheered, but it was just like that's not.
minute.
Do you know why they showed 2008?
Because that's when it was uploaded.
Uploaded to YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the date they
There you
counted.
go.
We even specifically said when we sent it to them that it's like this video is dated as 2008, but it was 2003 when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So-
that's a 5-year gap between when we started producing content and started putting content on YouTube. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But like even just recently on Netflix, it's like, the season 1 through 5 stuff went up. That was content we produced between 2003 and 2008. You know? And it's like that stuff just went up on Netflix. But it's like I think that that's like the story of Rooster Teeth more so than anything else is the long term stuff.
Well, I mean,
it's because it's 100% because of the dedication of the audience.
Well, I mean, we've been
100%.
very careful about adding people to the company. Like that's
we've been okay.
Well, I mean, like I always tell I was employee number 9, and
let
that
me
was
slip
after
through.
like you guys have been around for 7 years, I think, when I got hired on, and I was number 9.
Yeah.
And now it's 4.5, 5 years later, and we're up to like 80 something. So like it was a slow build, and kind of we've had an explosion of growth in the last few years.
Yeah.
But I was very, very careful.
You gotta be careful when we say 82 because I mean it's like
Well, yeah,
Ruby
but I mean-
just ramped down, so it's like it's I mean. Well, I was going through and counting up. It's like all the employees. It's like like 40 or 50 right now. But I think the big thing about our group is that we have a higher percentage of people that work here that appear on camera.
Yeah.
Like if you work here, there's a pretty good chance you're going to show up on camera at some point.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's an RT Life video or something like that.
Or
What
something
employee
bad will
number are
happen to
you,
you.
Chris?
Huh?
What employee number
Oh, I
are
was
you?
12.
12?
Yeah, I
Kara,
was.
Kara seems to disagree. Kara says
You're
Kara
wrong.
says your paycheck says 15. I don't know why she's looking at your paychecks, but all right.
I was going to say.
There's a window. Okay. Anyway,
Oh, yeah. They're talking about specific stuff. Like we've had guests on here that were like.
I was
great.
Twitter reacting to.
Somebody pointed out when we had Shira on at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
But people always point out Shira at South by Southwest, how that podcast did not go well.
That
Yeah,
was her
so-
show with you guys on it, though.
Yeah, that's
it
what-
wasn't.
I thought,
Yeah.
I thought it was labeled as our show, but she started seemed to host it. I watched that too and was really confused by it.
But that's a weird thing too, because Shira was also on the podcast once before with Hannah.
Yeah.
And like that was not an issue in any way, shape, or form.
It was very
just
brief, though.
At that moment in time, it was like for whatever reason, that show just didn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just didn't work.
Yeah.
But I think that's why people. That's the big story about going to LA. Is it really the just organic opportunities and especially the access to talent? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal. That's how
But
people
that-
decide to work together.
But again, that drives me nuts that LA has become that place. It couldn't have been
for
somewhere.
online.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it already was the place for TV and movies. I mean, it's obviously it's spread around a little bit, but it's still like people think movies, they think Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it's like it drives me crazy that LA also gets online. You know, if any place. I mean, hell, why not Austin? You know, Austin's an awesome
Totally
place.
agree.
And you know, a good tech area. It's right in the middle of the country. It's nice and sunny outside all the time. It doesn't get snowy.
I tell people about it all the time. Well, that's the nice thing about LA. It never friggin' rains.
That's true.
You had to bring out a truck to make rain, basically.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you ever watch any like nighttime urban scene, notice that it looks prettier if the roads are wet because the streetlights reflect off it. Those are people who get paid a lot of money to just dump water on the street
water hose out
at
there.
night. Every single night.
PA's
scene.
running out, then running cables and running them back. And,
Yeah. But I wouldn't say it's false. I mean, I prefer to be in Austin. There's some pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
But the people who make the effort to move to LA and make things happen, it's, that's an effort,
But I mean, it's the internet.
It's a risk and a commitment.
That's the whole idea. Was the internet was the place that anyone could go and anyone could be on if you wanted to.
I
and
agree.
like, I know you even talked about moving Rooster Teeth to like Minnesota or something once, right? Or
Middle of Kansas is what I said.
Yeah, middle of Kansas.
Where land
was
was
really
cheap.
cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was using an example.
Yeah.
The discussion I was having with the guys was, internet money, we don't have a storefront. We don't have a retail shop. This money comes in wherever we are. So wherever we make the content, we could go live in the south of France or we could go live in the middle of Kansas if we wanted to.
There's
Yeah.
some kid in Kansas right now who's just like, damn it.
Yeah. Someone in Topeka is pissed
So
off right
close.
now.
Somewhere that has really good internet. Like I think Chattanooga, Tennessee has amazing internet.
Well, Kansas City, right? That's where Google Fiber first hit.
Yeah, Overland Park, Kansas I think is where the first Google Fiber thing was. Which, by the way, where the fuck is Google Fiber?
Where is Google Fiber?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Chris.
Apparently, like, to be super awesome specific, they're actually in Onion Creek right now. So they're down by our old office. Like, they're over by Flash's place.
Are they there?
Yeah. Apparently, it's starting in that area way
Okay,
south Austin.
You're saying it's starting.
No.
Is it in?
Flash has literally walked outside and seen people on the poles, and he's like, "Are you guys putting in Google Fiber?" And they said yes. So
Did they pull out a script and go, yes?
I am
that
working with
question.
an internet
Not
company.
to be confused with a grocery store.
So, but anyway, it's on its way.
If Google Fiber turns out, and it is installed in some parts of the world, but Austin was going to be, I think, the third market, second market.
It was
where they
Kansas
installed
City,
it.
and then Austin was called up, and then Provo, Utah was
Right.
actually the next one. But Provo already had fiber installed in their lines already, so Google kind of piggybacked off of the fiber they had already installed, and so like it's already widely available there. So they actually kind of let past us, and then they announced like 12 or 15 other cities that it's coming to already. So I think San Antonio might be getting it actually.
San Antonio, interesting.
But anyway, there's a whole bunch of other cities that are getting it soon. But Austin is supposedly next on the list.
Sweet.
Supposedly.
But
They've been saying that. Like, it was supposed to be in spring of 2014.
But just the fact that like they've lowered prices of every competition in Austin already.
Go ahead.
And speeds are going up. So I mean,
for our incumbent carriers.
yeah.
Right.
So I mean, like Time Warner is kind of the big monopoly here in Austin, and there's a few other ones, but Time Warner is sort of like the general one. They gave everyone a speed upgrade for free. So like,
Not me, because I'm not in one of those areas. But
oh really?
yeah.
Well, so I went from like 20 megs down to like 100 megs down, and I'm paying the same price.
And so you probably wouldn't even get.
Oh, I would absolutely get
would?
Google Fiber. Yeah.
So
fuck
that's the
Time
thing.
Warner.
If Google Fiber just turns out to be this total vaporware phantom thing, where they
Yeah.
just say we're going to put it in here, and all the incumbent carriers are like, oh well, guess what?
Yeah. Suddenly
they turn
we're
the
interested.
switch, and suddenly
Yeah.
everybody has awesome internet access. That's just as good.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as people get better internet.
Yeah,
access.
Google doesn't give a
Even
shit
for
about
Google,
making money
because
off
Google's
this.
like, yeah, now more people can download our stuff and use our sites even more and faster.
That's
That's
exactly,
exactly
what
how
they're
it
doing.
benefits them. Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's what Google's all about.
Because Google owns like what, the top 3 most visited websites on the internet?
It's
YouTube, Google.com, and something else.
They own the top 2 search engines, which are Google, and YouTube is now the number 2 search engine. It's ahead of Yahoo
Wow.
for search. Yeah. In which when they bought YouTube, it's like, why did you do that? Because you have Google Video. They just totally saw it,
Yeah.
Even that when they bought the thermostat company,
Nest.
which you introduced me to.
oh, I got one of those.
Yeah, what do you think?
I got Brandon's.
What does that mean?
I bought Brandon's
Did you have to give him
old
a
one.
goat?
No,
Are you controlling Brandon's thermostat?
You have to
I
give it
bought
back.
Brandon. He moved to a new place and it didn't fit on his wall or whatever. So he's like, "Oh, I have this. Do you want to buy it?" I'm like, "Sure." So I bought it and I installed it and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." And I told him, I was like, "Hey, I think it's still connected to your phone."
Right.
Oh no.
And
why
he
did you
was like,
tell him
"Oh,
that?
is it?" So then he would control my thermostat for like a while.
Really?
Yeah. And,
Why did you immediately reset that?
well, because I wasn't home, but my roommate was.
So he's like smoking them out?
Yeah, he'd be like, turn it down to, it was like 60, it was like 101 degrees, and then it like he'd sit on his phone, he'd like go back down, and he'd just like, and then go to 60 and change it to Celsius. These are like all this stuff.
My
An
AC is
asshole.
out in my house. It's been out for almost a week, but
Yeah.
because of all my travel, I haven't had a time to like organize somebody coming out to look at it. It actually hasn't been that bad.
Yeah.
It's okay. The house keeps its temperature okay.
That's
you know?
cool.
So it's,
We got a lot of trees out there too, so.
Yeah. I live in kind of a woodsy part of, not a woodsy, but like just more older part of.
Yeah, when we were out in San Francisco, when Ashley were out in San Francisco, like it was 85 degrees, and the people there like, "Oh my god, it's so hot!" And
LA
they're, like
LA, they were like
sweating
that.
and in shorts and like little t-shirts, and like, no, this is beautiful. You don't understand.
We've actually had a really good summer. We keep talking about this in the podcast.
Yeah,
but
it's been a
great
nice
summer.
and mild summer. We got that little streak of hotness, but I mean, other than that, it's been pretty good. And we've actually been getting some rain too, and they're saying we're supposed to get more rain at the end of this month.
Sounds like my
so.
life story. A little streak of hotness. It's over now.
And then all rain.
It's all done.
The rest was wet.
The ship sailed.
But-
The I gotta say though, is even as mildish. I mean, for us, it's like we had 10 days over 100.
Yeah,
right. We only had 1,000 degrees, but we only had 10 days over 100. I have to admit, I really like my car a lot. I'm not entirely sure that if we'd had one of those brutal summers, that my car's AC could keep up with that.
Oh yeah, I guess
It's like right on the edge, on the edge.
How does your AC work without the engine?
It just like works off the battery. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not like I like my truck. I can get like gale force winds coming out of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing. You know, my truck even had the coolest feature ever, which is how you get in a car that has seat heaters. You hit a button and it heats the seat up. Mine had coolers. It would cool the seat down. Yeah, you had like a blue button and you could like cool the seats down.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. Kind of feels like you wet your pants. But it's a really good feature, especially for a dude like when you're wearing a dress shirt or something.
Yeah.
Jack. And
Yeah.
you're like driving around.
Is it
and-
just on the butt part or also on the
on the back?
How
lower
cold
back.
can it get?
Yeah, nothing's
What's
worse
that?
than getting out of a car and having your back wet. It's like, oh god damn it.
Yeah.
How cold can it get? Like,
It's in the. You want to try it out? It's in the parking lot. We'll go
Yeah.
try it out after this, Chris.
so it's fun.
Chris is really excited.
Can Brandon control it from his phone?
I know. You probably can't.
Just freeze you out.
How many Teslas do you see in LA while we were there?
There's a ton. There's
Yeah.
a lot more this time. Tesla did a really cool thing. They just announced, which unfortunately Texas completely lost out on, but I get why. Tesla just announced their plant that they're going to build called their Gigafactory, I
Yeah, the
believe.
Gigafactory.
They're building it in Nevada. And it's a solar-driven battery plant that at full capacity will make enough batteries to make 500,000 Teslas a year.
That's awesome.
So they're making a commitment that they're going to be mass producing these cars. And it's a net zero energy facility.
Yeah.
Like it provides all of its own energy. The factory does. That's pretty fucking cool.
That is cool.
This
Especially a
massive
factory
thing.
that produces batteries.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
I'm sure the raw materials to make the things is probably not, but to run the factory, it's net zero energy.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty freaking
Texas
cool.
lost out. I mean, I understand why Texas lost out because Nevada is so much closer to their factories because their factories in California, right?
Also,
Where they
the-
actually make
Yes,
the
I
Tesla,
believe
so they want to get their batteries to the factory. They want to be closer, and also I think Nevada is giving them just a ton of tax rebates and incentives and things. So
and you can't buy a Tesla in Texas, right?
yes,
No.
you can.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a big.
You could own it here,
can-
but
you
you
can
can't.
order
you
a
can't
Tesla.
buy one though, right?
You can't
You
go to
literally
a lot.
can't buy it while it's in
Yeah.
Texas.
So they're like, well, why are we going to give you business?
I had to pay for my car between the time it left California and entered the state of Texas.
Wow.
It was like a window in which I had to buy it. Yeah.
So it was like on a truck heading here, and you had to
Pretty
pay
much.
for it while it was on the
Yeah,
truck.
it was like a window of time in which it had to be like paid for. And if it got to the border, they would have to send it back. Like it was a big deal. Like they said, we can't.
So is there guys like like the guy at the
My
crossing?
Tesla guy.
Yeah.
Pay for
Like, so the guy on I-10 who's sitting there and like just like, yeah, let me see the paperwork for this car.
I don't know. No, not like that. In fact, it was a weird thing for a while where I didn't register the license plate for a while because then I was gonna have to pay taxes on it. So it's like you don't realize how much taxes are on a car until you had to pay it like in one check.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I had to go register the car with the state of Texas, and because I couldn't do it to a dealer here, I would just have to pay the taxes with a check myself. It's like, wow, that's a chunk of change to pay taxes on a car. And so I just didn't do it for like 2 months, and I thought, maybe I'll just tell people, hey, look, I'm not allowed to have this car, so I'm not paying your taxes. I couldn't buy it in Texas, so why should I pay your taxes on it?
Touche. Good
Yeah.
point.
But then you can't get a license plate, so that kind of solves itself, that problem.
You excited for the new iPhone coming out tomorrow? Or announcing tomorrow, excuse me. Allegedly the new iPhone's announcing tomorrow, but everything is pointing to that. And the iWatch.
I am. Only
Yeah.
because I finally skipped a generation.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get the 5S,
Okay.
which is kind of a generation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not. That's
Matt still has a 4. It's like the size. It looks tiny in his
Really?
hand.
Looks like a brick,
yeah, the new ones
which
apparently
sounds weird.
It
But
sounds weird.
apparently the new ones are going to be like they have two models. Supposedly the base one is supposed to be a little bit bigger than the one we currently have, and they're going to make one that's like basically like somewhere between the iPhone now and the iPad Mini. Like
Yeah.
it's a good size, and it has like an extra row of buttons on it, and then they're going to announce an iWatch, which apparently is going to have the touch pay stuff. like the kind of like RFID.
Near field communication.
Near field, yeah. So basically, you can have your iWatch on, go to a store, and then just basically touch your watch to it. It's linked to your credit card or bank account, and boom, you pay for something.
Thank fucking God.
That's pretty cool.
That's all I gotta say, because I was thinking about this today. It's 2014, right?
Yes.
And like whenever people were predicting the future of what we were gonna be after the year 2000, it was like, I don't have a flying car, but I need a fucking credit card to buy a Coke out of a vending machine. It's like nobody predicted that bullshit. That a Coke was gonna cost $3 at a vending machine, and I would need a goddamn bank account to buy a Coke. It's just ridiculous. And so the fact that we don't have near field, and the fact that we don't have chips.
Chip and pin.
Yeah, chip and pin.
Apparently, chip and pin is supposed to become the standard by the end of next year.
I hope not, because I'm getting that
Lindsay
program on
has
credit
one.
card.
Lindsay has a chip and pin in her card.
I have a chip, but not a pin in one of
really?
my cards. One of my cards.
Yeah.
Well, it's shocking.
Were you interested in coin at all?
I got one coming.
Me too. And the thing is now, but the chip and pin thing is going to be the end of next year. So by the time the retail release of the coin comes out, which is supposed to be next February or something, it's going to be
Head to the hills.
Use it for a year and then be done with it. So
yeah, it's nuts. So did you get your notification for coin?
yes, I'm in the beta. So.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Gus isn't.
Yeah, so I thought Gus ordered before me, but I guess not. So because they pushed out to like 30,000 people.
He was a big sourpuss about it, so I don't think he filled out the email in time.
I want robot cars.
They're coming.
Yeah, the Google car, man.
Didn't
I want
they just-
robot cars real bad.
Actually, as excited as I am about the electric cars and all that, it's going to be kind of moot because the real change is going to be for the driverless cars.
Because think about it, it's like no drunk driving, no you don't have to get a ride. Oh, could you take me to the airport? Or you just get robot car, go. It's like
Well, think about going downtown. Like, say I'm going to do a movie downtown, and just step out of your car, be like, okay, go park yourself, bye, and your car just rolls away.
Or your car can go deliver other people around. And
Basically,
then
you don't own a car. Is what
yeah,
you're
you
saying.
don't own a car.
okay.
You're like, I want to be here, and in the little robot car. I'm assuming there's not gonna be a little robot that drives it, but
Right.
Little
Good
robot
call.
butler.
for purposes of
G'day,
storytelling,
I wish there
robot
was.
man
Robot
drives
hat.
up, it's like, get in the car.
Enter.
I mean, it'd be
want some
awesome.
more.
Like, no more drunk driving. No more. Like, that's just not a
There
thing.
will still be drunk driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but not from the robots.
Well, you don't know where those robots
correct.
are going. They drop you off, man. Those robots, they got a lot of stress to deal with.
All the robot
No
drivers
robot
are Bender
massages.
from Futurama.
You mean Bender?
No, but there's something, I read a stat talking about it. It said something like 98% of all accidents are human error, basically. So it's kind of like, imagine taking humans out of
As opposed to
cars.
like mechanical error.
Yeah. Well, as opposed to like, nature or something happens where there's, but there's not a human in control of it. But somehow a human is responsible for a crash or a wreck. So once you take the human element out of it, it's like you could reduce. Drunk driving obviously would go, fall through the floor. But then
Yeah.
even just like normal driving, it's not a
and-
highway.
And like, I wonder if car companies are like, damn, we'll sell less cars
Well,
because people don't wreck cars if they're not driving them.
I guess so.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
But I
Like,
mean, what about insurance? Will insurance go down or up?
I don't know. That'll be
that's-
and what's
or will
will be
insurance
interesting.
exist?
Is if there's an accident, who's responsible?
The robot.
The
Yeah.
robot, the company that made the robot
Isaac
car,
Asimov?
or
The
is
monkey
it
who
your
took the
robot
picture.
car, or is it their robot car?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
who-
that's
who's
that's
responsible?
Yeah, that's
You guys
gonna
hear
be
about the monkey who took the picture?
No, what about
oh
the
yeah,
monkey?
yeah.
So they ruled that a monkey took a selfie of itself.
Yeah.
Like it took a photographer's camera and it took its own picture. And that picture went viral and went everywhere. And the photographer sued like a publication that had it
monkey?
up and said, take it down. And the publisher said, it's not your picture. It's the monkey's picture.
Yeah.
The monkey owns the copyright. And the photographer's like, go fuck yourself. The monkey owns the copyright. The court ruled the monkey took the picture.
Yeah.
That the monkey owns the copyright. And the photographer, the guy who owned the camera, doesn't have any rights to it.
That's so
Hey, I'm-
awesome.
I-
That
I'm
is
all
the
for
weirdest
that.
story I've heard
Yeah,
this entire year.
But I actually agree with it.
But, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like yeah.
If I loaned you my camera and you took a photo, it would be your photo.
Okay, no, the hypothetical. I have a GoPro with a little collar on it. I hit record and then put it on a cat and send the cat out. It comes back and I take it off and hit stop. Is it mine or the cat's?
Well, that's yours. That'd be like.
because I mean, I started the recording. and the monkey literally hit the button to take the photo. So I imagine that adds ownership to it. And so is it who touches the button?
Well, it's like I think it's who's licensed. Like, so a film production hires a monkey to take a photo.
Okay, the film production company hires a monkey
the
to
monkey
take
signed a contract.
photo.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Well,
the picture?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the photo. The
That's a
monkey
good looking
selfie.
monkey.
No, that's a human,
Yeah.
Barbara. The monkey's
Now,
on the.
I think that
Good one.
if the guy had
Sick burn.
like if he just took the photo and put it out, like this is the photo that the monkey took. If he did that, then you could say it's the monkey's photo. However, if before he had ever released it, if he'd have filtered it or color corrected it, then he could say that's my work that I did,
Yeah.
and there's no original. You know, that this is the only thing that's published is this work that I created with the help of the monkey.
But he uploaded the photo.
yeah, he did put it. I guess he put up the original, and the original photo is property of the monkey.
Even though
once
he uploaded it.
Once monkeys figure out Instagram, we're all fucked, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that he can't claim copyright to the photo because the monkey owns it.
Man.
Owns that copyright.
We should
That's
wrap up
awesome. That's
on that
so
note.
It's weird to say that.
That's really
Real quick,
awesome.
Though, going back to the driverless cars thing, this is from the Wikipedia page on driverless cars, specifically the Google driverless car. It's only been in 2 accidents. One accident, it was rear-ended while it was stopped at a traffic light, so it was hit from behind, and the other was it was being driven by a human. Someone had taken the wheel and then crashed it.
Didn't they have to put in wheels recently?
Yeah, like so the beta test cars, the alpha test cars, the ones they have, they built like 20. They don't have any sort of steering wheels
Yeah.
or pedals or anything. The state of California said they have to put that stuff in the car.
Yeah.
They said legally you have to have it in because basically like there is pretty much like an iPad type thing with like a direction thing and then a big red button. So if something were to go wrong, you hit the red button and it just stops the car. But
Yeah.
they want to have it where you could hit the button and then control it if necessary.
I can't believe we're out of time because I mean it's like this is one to get into discussion. I watched a whole Netflix. They had a whole TED section for TED Talks on robotics. I watched like 2 of the 15-minute talks and I was like, robots are clearly gonna fucking kill us very soon. I mean, it's just like it's almost without question. It's like you watch. And like even what they consider to be a robot is like I expect like Chris with his driving pantomime or like a dude like Asimov walking around. No, robots are like cubes that like flop around on the floor and build themselves into these things that like turn into snakes that will just choke you to death or something. You know what I mean?
It's like T-1000 basically.
It's pretty
up here.
It's pretty frightening stuff.
Man.
That it's either that or we'll have a post-apocalyptic podcast next time. But
Yeah,
this Ebola thing.
It's
is
gonna be
nuts.
Ebola or it's gonna be robots.
Did you read about the quarantine in
Yeah.
Sierra Leone?
Wait, what?
Yeah, 3 days they're going to quarantine the country where
Jesus.
no one is allowed to go outside, and they're going to go door to door, health workers trying to find hidden Ebola patients. That's like a novel.
Yeah, that's like World War Z basically.
Yeah.
My God.
It's getting pretty.
At what point do they
crazy.
start like making people walk through dogs to get to the other side? Like, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what's coming.
No, but that's. I mean, that's. I'm glad they're taking those measures. I
Yeah.
mean, all joking if you want to call it
Yeah.
aside, but yeah,
You don't want that shit to spread.
yeah, that's a pretty serious situation if they're quarantining in a whole country.
Shit.
Man.
So.
On that note, thanks for watching, everybody.
Wait.
Oh shit.
Oh, wait. We should people just watch Social Disorder on Saturday.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Hey.
So Chris has a new show that's debuting. It's going to run opposite Happy Hour. It's called Social Disorder, and then it'll be Social Disorder, and then Happy Hour, Archie Life, and those back and forth.
Yeah, so they're each every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's his first one is coming out, and
Some
it's,
people at RTX saw it.
we're all big fans.
It's hilarious.
Oh, it was awkward. It's an awkward shoot.
Well, isn't that the idea
All
of
of
the
them
show
are.
though? It's
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
It's awkward. That should be the subtitle for the show.
So every second Saturday,
Yeah.
starting this week.
Sweet. Awesome.
Check
All
it
right.
out.
Well, thank you
Great.
very much, everyone, for watching. It's been fun. Have a nice day.
Bye, love you.
Bye, Internet.
It's a web talk show.
Kiss.
People do that, right? The Rooster Talk Show. Drunk talk, Rooster Teeth. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm already perfect. Don't change a damn bit. I'm a piece of Gus. I'm an adult. I'm back. Totally happy. Life's good.